The church basement smelled of old hymnals and lemon polish. Tessa Wright's knees pressed against the worn wooden kneeler as tears rolled down her brown cheeks, dropping onto her clasped hands. Her voice cracked as she whispered into the empty sanctuary, barely audible in the afternoon stillness. Please God. Please. I don't know what else to do. Bella's medicine costs $300 this month, and I'm already 2 months behind on rent. Mrs. Chun said she'll have to evict us next week if I don't pay. I've been working at the diner, cleaning offices at night, and doing weekend shifts at the grocery store, but it's not enough. It's never enough. She pressed her forehead against her hands, her shoulders shaking. The blue cotton dress she wore, faded from too many washes, bunched around her knees. Her sneakers, held together with superglue, squeaked slightly as she shifted her weight. I'm so tired. So tired I can barely think straight anymore. Yesterday I put the milk in the cabinet and the cereal in the fridge. Bella laughed, but I wanted to cry. She's 8 years old and she shouldn't have to see her mother falling apart. She shouldn't have to take pills 3 times a day just to breathe properly. She should be running and playing like other kids, not sitting on our ratty couch because she's too weak to go outside. Tessa's voice rose slightly, desperation bleeding through. I'm not asking for riches. I'm not asking for a mansion or fancy cars. I just need enough to keep my baby healthy. Enough to keep a roof over our heads. Enough to maybe, just once, not have to choose between her medicine and our dinner. Is that too much to ask? Am I being selfish? She wiped her face with the back of her hand, sniffling. I've tried everything. I applied for assistance, but they said I make $50 too much to qualify. $50. Do you know what that feels like? To be told you're struggling but not struggling enough? I've asked my supervisor at each job for more hours, but there are no more hours to give. I've sold everything we own that has any value. Mama's ring, Daddy's watch, even my high school graduation bracelet. All of it gone, and we're still drowning. The afternoon light filtered through the stained glass windows, casting colored shadows across the empty pews. Tessa didn't notice. Her entire world had narrowed to this prayer, this last desperate plea to a God she hoped was listening. Bella asked me yesterday if we could go to the zoo for her birthday next month. The zoo got $5 for admission. I had to tell her maybe, and the way her face fell just about broke me in half. She smiled and said, "It's okay, Mama. We can look at pictures of animals instead." 8 years old and already learning to swallow disappointment. That's not right. That shouldn't be her childhood. Tessa's hands trembled. I'm begging you. I never beg, you know that. I've always tried to stand on my own 2 feet, to work hard, to do right by people. But I can't do this alone anymore. I need help. Bella needs help. Please, send something. Send someone. Send anything. I don't care how it comes, just please, please help us. We're out of options and out of time. She stayed there, forehead pressed to her hands, crying silently. The church remained quiet except for her soft sobs and the distant sound of traffic outside. She didn't hear the footsteps approaching from the back of the sanctuary. Raymond Cole had entered St. Michael's Church 15 minutes earlier, seeking refuge from a day of back-to-back board meetings and investor calls. At 42, he'd built a technology empire worth billions, but lately the success felt hollow. He ducked into the church on impulse, drawn by childhood memories of attending Sunday services with his late parents. He'd been sitting in the last pew, eyes closed, when he heard the woman's voice. At first he thought about leaving, giving her privacy. But something in her words held him there. The raw honesty. The pure desperation. The love for her daughter that poured through every syllable. Raymond stood slowly, his tall frame casting a long shadow. He wore a gray suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent, though he'd loosened his tie and unbuttoned his collar. His dark hair showed traces of silver at the temples. He walked quietly down the center aisle, his dress shoes nearly silent on the old carpet. "Excuse me," he said softly. Tessa's head snapped up, her eyes wide with shock and embarrassment. She scrambled to her feet, wiping frantically at her tear-stained face. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know anyone was here. I'll go. I'm sorry." "Please don't apologize," Raymond said, holding up a hand. "And please don't leave. I'm the one who should apologize for intruding on a private moment. I'm Raymond Cole." He extended his hand. Tessa stared at it for a moment before shaking it, her hand small in his. Her mind raced, trying to place the name. Raymond Cole. Why did that sound familiar? "I own TechVision Industries," Raymond continued, seeing her confusion. "But that doesn't matter right now. What matters is that I heard your prayer, and I'd like to help you if you'll let me." Tessa took a step back, shaking her head. No, I wasn't. I mean, I was praying, but I wasn't asking people for money. I would never. I'm not a charity case. I know you're not, Raymond said gently. But sometimes we all need help. I've been where you are. Different circumstances, but I know what it's like to feel desperate and alone. My parents died when I was 19 and I had nothing. I worked 3 jobs too, slept in my car sometimes. I remember that fear, that exhaustion. I remember praying in a church much like this one. He paused, his expression sincere. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering help. There's a difference. You clearly love your daughter more than anything in this world, and you've been fighting for her with everything you have. But you don't have to fight alone anymore. Let me help with Bella's medical expenses. Let me help with your rent. Let me give you both a chance to breathe. Tessa's eyes filled with fresh tears. Every instinct told her this couldn't be real. People didn't just walk into churches and offer to solve your problems. Billionaires didn't appear out of nowhere like angels in expensive suits. But she thought about Bella at home with their neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, probably watching cartoons on their ancient television. She thought about the eviction notice tucked in her purse. She thought about the pharmacy bill she couldn't pay. Why? She whispered. Why would you do this for someone you don't even know? Raymond smiled, and it transformed his face, making him look younger. Because someone helped me once when I needed it. An old man named George Patterson gave me a job when no one else would, let me sleep in his garage, fed me dinner every night. He told me, son, when you get on your feet, you help someone else get on theirs. George has been gone for 10 years now, but I've never forgotten what he taught me. So I'm asking you, Tessa, will you let me help you and Bella? Have you ever felt so desperate that pride becomes meaningless? That's where Tessa stood now, and we all face moments like these. What would you do in her position? Would you accept help from a stranger, or would fear hold you back? Drop a comment below with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for the rest of Tessa and Raymond's incredible journey. Tessa looked up at the stained glass windows, at the colored light streaming through. She thought about her prayer just minutes ago, asking for help in any form. And here stood Raymond Cole, offering exactly what she'd asked for. Maybe this was the answer. Maybe this was grace wearing a gray suit. She met his eyes and saw nothing but genuine kindness. Okay, she said quietly. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't even know how to thank you. Raymond pulled a business card from his wallet and wrote on the back. This is my personal cell phone number. I want you to call me tomorrow morning. We'll arrange everything. The medical bills, the rent, all of it. And I have a guest house on my property that's sitting empty. It's yours if you want it. 3 bedrooms, fully furnished. You and Bella can live there as long as you need. I can't take your house, Tessa protested weakly. It's just sitting there, Raymond said. Empty houses don't do anyone any good. Besides, it would make things easier. My company has excellent health insurance, and I can add you and Bella to the plan. There's a wonderful pediatric specialist, Dr. Angela Morrison, who I know personally. She can see Bella next week. Tessa felt dizzy. This morning she'd been drowning, and now someone was throwing her not just a rope but a complete life preserver. I don't understand why you're being so kind. Because kindness is the only thing that matters in the end, Raymond said simply. All the money in the world means nothing if you can't use it to help people. Now tell me about Bella. What does she love? What makes her smile? And there in that quiet church, as the afternoon sun painted rainbows across the walls, Tessa told him about her daughter. She told him about Bella's love for drawing, her collection of library books about animals, her dream of becoming a veterinarian someday. She told him about Bella's laugh, which sounded like wind chimes, and how she always shared half her sandwich with the stray cat that lived behind their apartment building. Raymond listened to every word, and for the first time in months, Tessa felt something she'd almost forgotten. She felt hope. The church bells chimed 4 o'clock, and Tessa realized she needed to get home to relieve Mrs. Johnson. Raymond walked her to the door, and before she left, he placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Everything's going to be okay now, he said. I promise you. Call me tomorrow and we'll start making this right. Tessa nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. She walked down the church steps into the bright afternoon, clutching his business card like a lifeline. Behind her, Raymond stood in the doorway watching her go. He'd walked into that church feeling lost and empty, questioning the purpose of his success. Now he felt something shift inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. He felt like he mattered again. Like his life had meaning beyond profit margins and stock prices. He thought about the woman's prayer, about the desperation in her voice, about the fierce love she had for her daughter. He thought about his own mother, who'd worked herself to exhaustion trying to provide for him and his sister after their father died. Thank you, George, he whispered to the memory of the man who'd saved him all those years ago. I finally understand what you meant. Helping someone else saves you too. Tessa practically ran the 6 blocks to her apartment, her heart lighter than it had been in months. She burst through the door of their tiny 1-bedroom unit to find Bella sitting at their small kitchen table, coloring carefully in a donated coloring book. Mama, Bella called, her voice bright despite the slight wheeze underneath. You're home. Look what I drew for you. Tessa scooped her daughter into her arms, holding her close. Bella's small body felt too thin, too fragile, but she hugged back with all her strength. It's beautiful, baby. It's so beautiful. And Mama has something to tell you. Something wonderful happened today. Mrs. Johnson, their elderly neighbor, gathered her things with a kind smile. She's been good as gold, like always. Had her medicine at 2 like you asked. Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. You're a blessing. Tessa saw the woman to the door, then turned to her daughter. She sat down at the table, pulling Bella onto her lap. Baby, I went to church today to pray and something amazing happened. She told Bella about meeting Raymond, about his offer to help them. She kept her language simple, not wanting to overwhelm her daughter, but she couldn't hide her excitement. Bella's eyes grew wider with each detail. So we won't have to leave our apartment? Bella asked. Better than that, Tessa said, smoothing her daughter's braids. We're going to move to a real house. With 3 bedrooms. You'll have your own room, baby. And Mr. Cole knows a doctor who can help you feel better. Bella wrapped her thin arms around Tessa's neck. Did God send him, Mama? Like an angel? Tessa felt tears prick her eyes again. Yeah, baby. I think maybe he did. That night, after Bella fell asleep in the double bed they shared, Tessa sat at the kitchen table and looked at Raymond's business card. She turned it over and over in her hands, still half convinced she'd imagined the whole thing. But the card was real, solid, proof that her prayer had been answered. She thought about tomorrow, about calling him, about starting a new life for her and Bella. Fear crept in at the edges. What if this was too good to be true? What if there were strings attached? What if Raymond changed his mind? But then she remembered his eyes, the sincerity in his voice, the way he'd listen when she talked about Bella. She remembered his story about George Patterson, about paying forward the kindness he'd received. And she remembered her prayer, her desperate plea for help. Okay, God, she whispered into the dark apartment. I'm trusting you on this. I'm trusting that you send him to help us. Please let this be real. Please let this be the answer we've been waiting for. Outside, the city hummed with its usual nighttime symphony of sirens, traffic, and distant voices. But inside their small apartment, wrapped in warm blankets and new hope, Tessa and Bella slept peacefully for the first time in months. Tomorrow would bring changes, big ones, but tonight they could rest knowing that help had finally arrived. Raymond Cole sat in his penthouse apartment across the city, unable to sleep. He kept thinking about Tessa's prayer, about her daughter Bella, about the way Tessa's face had transformed when she talked about her child. He'd made millions of dollars in deals, had shaken hands with presidents and celebrities, had been featured on magazine covers and news programs. But none of that had ever made him feel the way he felt now. He felt useful. He felt needed. He felt human again in a way his wealth had somehow stripped from him over the years. Tomorrow he'd call his assistant and arrange everything. The guest house, the medical appointments, the financial transfers. He'd move mountains if he had to because for the first time in a long time, he'd found something worth moving them for. 2 strangers had met in a church, one praying for a miracle, one searching for meaning. Neither knew it yet, but their lives had just changed forever. Tessa's hands shook as she dialed the number on Raymond's card. It was 8 in the morning and Bella was still sleeping, exhausted from a rough night of coughing. Tessa had been awake since 5, pacing the small kitchen, convincing herself to make the call. The phone rang twice before a warm voice answered. This is Raymond. Mr. Cole? This is Tessa Wright. We met yesterday at the church. She twisted the phone cord around her finger. I hope I'm not calling too early. Tessa, good morning. And please call me Raymond. You're not calling too early at all. I've been up since 6 hoping you'd call. How's Bella? The genuine concern in his voice made Tessa relax slightly. She had a hard night, but she's sleeping now. Mr. Cole, Raymond, I've been thinking and I need to be honest with you. I'm grateful, so grateful for your offer, but I'm scared. This feels too good to be true and I don't want to get Bella's hopes up if I'm not serious? Raymond finished gently. I understand completely. How about this? I'll have my attorney, Patricia Lawson, call you this morning. She'll explain everything legally, make sure you're protected. Then if you're comfortable, I'd like to meet you and Bella. Maybe lunch somewhere? Nothing fancy, just a chance to talk more. You can ask me anything you want, and if at any point you feel uncomfortable, you can walk away. No pressure, no obligations. Tessa closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. Okay. Yes. That sounds good. Perfect. What's Bella's favorite food? Pizza, Tessa said, a small smile forming. She loves pizza. Then pizza it is. There's a place called Antonio's on 5th Street. Family-owned, best pizza in the city. Does noon work for you? After hanging up, Tessa leaned against the counter, her heart racing. An hour later, Patricia Lawson called. The attorney spent 45 minutes explaining Raymond's offer in clear legal terms. No strings attached. No expectations. Just help. I've worked with Raymond for 15 years, Patricia said at the end. He's one of the most genuine people I know. When he says he wants to help, he means it. But Tessa, you should know something else. He's also offering you a job if you want it. Assistant Director of Community Outreach for his foundation. It comes with full benefits, including health insurance for you and Bella. Tessa gripped the phone tighter. A job. He didn't want to overwhelm you yesterday, but yes. He thinks you'd be perfect for it, given your situation. You understand what families in crisis need because you've lived it. But that's something you two can discuss. Just know the offer is there. When Bella woke up, Tessa told her they were going out for pizza. The little girl's face lit up despite her tiredness. Really, Mama? Can I wear my yellow dress? You can wear whatever you want, baby. They arrived at Antonio's 15 minutes early. The restaurant was cozy, with red checkered tablecloths and the smell of fresh bread filling the air. Raymond was already there, sitting in a corner booth. He stood when he saw them, his smile genuine and warm. But Tessa noticed he wasn't alone. A woman with silver hair sat across from him, and Tessa's stomach clenched. Had he brought someone to judge them? Raymond saw her hesitation. Tessa, Bella, please come sit. This is Mrs. Eleanor Patterson. She was married to George, the man I told you about yesterday. She's like family to me, and I asked her to come because I thought having another woman here might make this easier. But if you're not comfortable, she can leave. This is your call. Mrs. Patterson smiled kindly. Hello, dear. Raymond told me about meeting you, and I just wanted to say hello. But truly, if you'd rather this just be the three of you, I completely understand. Something about the older woman's gentle manner put Tessa at ease. No, please stay. It's nice to meet you. They settled into the booth, Bella pressed against Tessa's side, her eyes wide as she looked at Raymond. He reached across the table and offered his hand to the little girl. You must be Bella. Your mom told me you love animals. What's your favorite? Bella shook his hand solemnly. Elephants. They're smart and they take care of their families. They do, Raymond agreed. Did you know elephants can paint? There's a sanctuary in Thailand where they teach elephants to paint pictures. Bella's eyes went huge. Really? The ice broke. Raymond ordered 3 large pizzas with different toppings, breadsticks, and lemonade. As they ate, he asked Bella about school, about her drawings, about what she wanted to be when she grew up. He listened to every answer like it was the most important thing he'd ever heard. Mrs. Patterson chatted with Tessa, asking about her work, her life, keeping things light and easy. Tessa found herself relaxing, laughing at Bella's stories, enjoying the simple pleasure of a meal she hadn't had to cook or pay for. After they ate, Raymond pulled out a tablet. Bella, would you like to see the house I told your mom about? I took some pictures this morning. He showed them photos of a beautiful guest house. It had cream-colored walls, large windows, a kitchen with modern appliances, and 3 bedrooms. The largest bedroom had built-in bookshelves and a window seat. Bella gasped when she saw it. That could be your room, Raymond said softly. If you and your mom decide to accept my offer. Tessa looked at the pictures, her throat tight. It was perfect. Too perfect. Raymond, I can't afford to rent a place like that. I can barely afford our apartment. You wouldn't be renting, he said. I told you yesterday it's sitting empty. Consider it part of the job offer. You work for the foundation, you live on the property. It makes things simpler. But I don't even know what this job involves. Fair point. Raymond switched to another screen on the tablet. The TechVision Foundation helps families in crisis. We pay medical bills, provide housing assistance, offer job training. Right now we have a staff of 6 people, but we need someone who understands what our clients are going through. Someone who can connect with them, guide them through the process, make sure we're actually helping and not just throwing money at problems. He looked at her seriously. You've lived this struggle, Tessa. You know what it's like to work 3 jobs and still not make ends meet. You know what it's like to love your child so much it hurts, to lie awake at night terrified about the future. That knowledge, that experience, that's what we need. The salary is $60,000 a year, plus full health benefits for you and Bella. You'd work regular hours, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. $60,000 a year. Tessa tried to wrap her mind around it. She currently made less than $25,000 working 3 part-time jobs with no benefits. This was more money than she'd ever imagined making. I don't have a college degree, she said quietly. But you have something better. You have heart and you have understanding. Those can't be taught. Raymond leaned forward. Look, I know this is overwhelming. I know you probably spent all night wondering if I was real or if this was some kind of trick. So here's what I propose. Take the weekend. Move into the guest house. See how it feels. I'll have Bella's medical appointment with Dr. Morrison set up for Monday. You can start the job on a trial basis. If after 2 weeks you hate it or you feel uncomfortable, you can leave. No hard feelings. I'll still cover Bella's medical expenses regardless. Mrs. Patterson reached across the table and squeezed Tessa's hand. My George used to say that grace comes in unexpected packages. Sometimes we have to be brave enough to accept it. Tessa looked at Bella, who was staring at the pictures of the house with longing written all over her face. She thought about their cramped apartment, about the eviction notice, about the pharmacy bill she couldn't pay. She thought about her prayer yesterday about asking for help. And then she thought about Raymond's face when he told her his story, about the kindness in his eyes, about how he'd listened to her talk about Bella like she was the most important child in the world. This man wasn't trying to trap her or trick her. He genuinely wanted to help. Okay, she said, her voice stronger than she felt. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Raymond's face broke into a huge smile. That's wonderful. Truly wonderful. Can you move this weekend? I'll arrange for movers to help with your things. We don't have much to move, Tessa admitted. Most of our furniture is falling apart anyway. Then we'll get new furniture. You pick what you want, what makes you comfortable. This is your home now, Tessa. Yours and Bella's. I want you both to feel safe there. Bella tugged on Tessa's sleeve. Mama, is this real? Are we really getting a house? Tessa pulled her daughter close, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Yes, baby. It's real. We're getting a house. The rest of lunch passed in a blur of details and plans. Raymond gave Tessa his assistant's number, a woman named Janelle Cooper who would help coordinate everything. Mrs. Patterson invited them to her house for tea sometime, saying she'd love to get to know them better. When they finally left the restaurant, Bella clutching a stuffed elephant Raymond had somehow arranged to have delivered during lunch, Tessa felt like she was floating. In the parking lot, Raymond walked them to the bus stop. You won't need the bus much longer, he said. The guest house has a garage and there's a car there you can use. Nothing fancy, just a reliable sedan. It's registered and insured. Tessa stopped walking. Raymond, a car too? You can't work for me without reliable transportation, he said simply. Besides, Bella will have medical appointments. This makes things easier. Before Tessa could respond, he continued. I know you're probably feeling overwhelmed, maybe even suspicious. That's smart. You don't know me and I'm offering you things that seem too good to be true. But Tessa, I need you to understand something. I spent years building my company, making more money than I could ever spend. And somewhere along the way I forgot why I was doing it. I forgot what matters. He looked down at Bella, who was hugging her elephant and humming softly. Yesterday when I heard you pray, something clicked for me. I remembered George and how he saved my life. I remembered what it feels like to be desperate and alone. And I realized that all my success means nothing if I can't use it to help people like you and Bella. So you're not just accepting help from me. You're helping me too. You're reminding me what my life should be about. Tessa's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say. Say you'll call me if you need anything. Say you'll give this a real chance. That's all I ask. The bus arrived and Tessa and Bella climbed aboard. Through the window, Tessa watched Raymond wave goodbye and she waved back. As the bus pulled away, Bella snuggled against her side. Mama, I like him. He's nice. Yeah, baby. He is nice. That evening, Tessa called the diner, the cleaning company, and the grocery store. She gave them all her 2-week notice, her voice steady despite her nerves. Then she called her landlord, Mrs. Chin, and explained the situation. The older woman was thrilled for her. You deserve good things, Tessa, Mrs. Chin said. You're a good mother and a good person. I'm happy someone finally recognized that. On Saturday morning, a moving truck arrived at their apartment. 2 friendly movers packed up their belongings, which fit into just a few boxes. By noon, they were driving across the city to Raymond's property. The estate was beautiful, with rolling green lawns, flowering gardens, and tall oak trees. The guest house sat about 100 yards from the main house, giving them privacy while still being close. It was even more beautiful in person than in the pictures. Mrs. Patterson was waiting for them, along with Janelle Cooper, Raymond's assistant. The women helped them unpack and settle in. The house came fully furnished with comfortable, quality pieces. The kitchen had a full refrigerator and pantry. The bathrooms had fresh towels and toiletries. Everything they could possibly need was already there. Bella ran from room to room, her laughter echoing through the house. In her new bedroom, she spun in circles, arms outstretched. "Mama, look, I have a real bed. And bookshelves. And a window seat where I can read." Tessa stood in the doorway watching her daughter's joy and started crying. Mrs. Patterson appeared beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "Let it out, dear. Happy tears are good for the soul." "I keep thinking I'm going to wake up," Tessa whispered. "That this is all a dream." "It's not a dream. It's real. And you deserve it." Mrs. Patterson squeezed her gently. "Now, Raymond's at a business dinner tonight, but he asked me to make sure you both had everything you need. I made some lasagna for your dinner. It's in the fridge. And tomorrow, after you've settled in, he'd like to come by and show you around the property if that's okay with you." "That's more than okay. Thank you. Thank you for everything." That night, after Bella fell asleep in her new bed, Tessa walked through the quiet house. She ran her hand along the kitchen counters, looked out the large windows at the moonlit garden, sat in the comfortable living room chair. This was her home now. Hers and Bella's. Safe, warm, beautiful. She thought about Raymond, about his kindness, about the way he'd looked at Bella with such genuine interest. She thought about his story of George Patterson, about how one person's kindness had changed his entire life. And now he was doing the same for her family. "Thank you," she whispered to the empty room, to God, to Raymond, to whatever force had brought them together. "Thank you for hearing my prayer. Thank you for sending him to us. I promise I'll make the most of this chance. I promise I'll pay it forward someday just like he's doing now." Outside, the night was peaceful. Stars dotted the sky, and a gentle breeze rustled the trees. Tomorrow would bring new beginnings, new challenges, new opportunities. But tonight, for the first time in years, Tessa fell asleep without fear, without worry, without the weight of impossible choices crushing her chest. She fell asleep with hope. Sunday morning arrived with golden sunlight streaming through the bedroom windows. Tessa woke slowly, momentarily confused by the soft mattress and the absence of traffic noise. Then she remembered. They were in the guest house. This was their home now. She found Bella already awake, sitting at the window seat in her bedroom, looking out at the gardens. The morning light caught her daughter's face, and Tessa noticed something different. Bella looked peaceful. Not just happy, but truly at ease in a way Tessa hadn't seen in months. "Good morning, baby. How'd you sleep?" "So good, Mama. I didn't cough as much. And my bed is so comfortable. It's like sleeping on a cloud." They made breakfast together in the spacious kitchen, scrambling eggs and making toast. Everything felt easier here. The stove worked perfectly, all 4 burners heating evenly. The refrigerator hummed quietly instead of rattling like their old one. Even the water from the tap tasted cleaner. At 10 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Tessa opened it to find Raymond standing there in casual clothes, navy pants and a green polo shirt, so different from the suit he'd worn in the church. He held a potted plant with purple flowers. "Good morning. I brought you a housewarming gift. These are African violets. They're hardy and bloom year-round. I thought they'd look nice in your kitchen window." Tessa accepted the plant, touched by the gesture. "Thank you. Come in, please." Raymond stepped inside, and Bella ran up to greet him, still in her pajamas. "Mr. Cole, Mama made eggs. Do you want some?" "I already ate, but thank you for offering." "That's very kind." He knelt down to her level. "How do you like your new house?" "It's perfect," Bella said seriously. "I've never had my own room before. Mama and I always shared a bed." Raymond looked up at Tessa, and she saw understanding in his eyes. He stood, clearing his throat. "Well, I'm glad you like it. I was hoping to show you and your mom around the property if you're up for it. You can meet my housekeeper who works in the main house, and I can show you where everything is." They changed quickly, Bella choosing to wear a bright red shirt with her favorite jeans. As they walked across the lawn toward the main house, Raymond pointed out features of the property. The vegetable garden that his gardener, Frank Martinez, maintained. The small pond with goldfish. The walking trails that wound through the trees. "You're welcome to use any of this," he said. "The property is big enough that we won't be in each other's way. I want you both to feel free here." The main house was beautiful but not ostentatious. It felt like a home, not a showplace. Mrs. Patterson met them at the door, dressed in comfortable slacks and a floral blouse. "Good morning, everyone. Perfect timing. I just made fresh lemonade and cookies." They sat in the large kitchen, and Mrs. Patterson served them cookies that were still warm from the oven. Bella's eyes went wide at the first bite. "These are the best cookies I've ever had. I'll have to teach you how to make them sometime," Mrs. Patterson said, winking. "Every girl should know how to bake good cookies." Raymond pulled out a folder from the counter. "Tessa, I wanted to go over some practical things. The car in your garage is a 2-year-old Honda. The keys are hanging by your front door. It's fully insured and maintained. If anything goes wrong with it, just let me know." He slid some papers across the table. "These are for you to sign when you're ready. Employment contract, insurance enrollment forms, direct deposit information. Janelle will help you with all of it tomorrow. Your first paycheck will be at the end of this month." Tessa looked at the papers, her heart racing. This was really happening. "When do I start work?" "Wednesday, if that works for you. That gives you tomorrow for Bella's doctor appointment, and Tuesday to get settled. I'll be there Wednesday to introduce you to the team and show you around the office." He pulled out another paper. "And this is Dr. Morrison's information. Her office called me yesterday. They have an opening tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon. She's one of the best pediatric specialists in the state. She'll do a full evaluation on Bella and develop a treatment plan." Bella, who had been eating her third cookie, looked up nervously. "Will it hurt?" Raymond shook his head. "Dr. Morrison is really gentle. And she has a dog named Cooper who stays in her office. He's a therapy dog. You'll get to pet him." "A dog?" Bella's face brightened immediately. "A golden retriever. He's very friendly." After they finished their lemonade, Raymond showed them the rest of the property. The garage held several cars, including a sleek black sports car that made Bella gasp. "That's so cool." "It is pretty fun to drive," Raymond admitted. "Maybe when you're older, I'll teach you how to drive a stick shift." They walked past the swimming pool, covered now in early spring, and the tennis court. Raymond explained that Frank, the gardener, lived in a small apartment over the garage and had been with him for 5 years. "He's a good guy. Quiet but kind. His wife Rosa works downtown as a teacher." Back at the guest house, Raymond hesitated at the door. "I know this is all happening fast. If you need anything day or night, you have my number. Don't hesitate to call." "I mean that." "Raymond," Tessa said softly. "Thank you doesn't feel like enough. You've given us so much." "You're giving me something too," he replied. "You're reminding me what matters. That's worth more than you know." After he left, Tessa spent the afternoon helping Bella organize her room. They arranged her library books on the shelves, hung up her clothes in the spacious closet, and set up her art supplies on the desk by the window. Bella drew picture after picture, her hand moving confidently across the paper. "Mama, I want to draw something for Mr. Cole. To say thank you. I think he'd love that, baby." That evening they ate the lasagna Mrs. Patterson had left for them. It was delicious, rich with cheese and herbs. After dinner, they sat on the front porch of the guest house, watching the sun set over the gardens. Bella curled up against Tessa's side, the stuffed elephant tucked under her arm. "Mama, is Mr. Cole married?" The question caught Tessa off guard. "I don't think so." "Why?" "Because he seems lonely sometimes. Like when he smiles, his eyes are still sad." Tessa hugged her daughter closer, amazed as always by her perception. "You're right, baby. He does seem a little lonely. But I think maybe we can help with that. We can be his friends." "I like that idea," Bella said, yawning. "He's nice. And he listens when I talk. Not like some grown-ups who pretend to listen but really don't." Later, after Bella was asleep, Tessa sat at the kitchen table with the employment papers spread out before her. She read every word carefully, still half expecting to find some catch, some hidden clause that would make this all make sense. But there was nothing. Just a straightforward job offer with a generous salary and excellent benefits. She signed the papers with a steady hand, then pulled out her phone. She sent Raymond a text message. "Thank you again for today. Bella is so happy. I signed the papers. I won't let you down." His response came quickly. "You couldn't let me down if you tried. Sleep well. Big day tomorrow with Dr. Morrison." Tessa set the phone down and walked to Bella's room. She stood in the doorway watching her daughter sleep in a real bed in a safe house, with proper medical care scheduled for tomorrow. She thought about where they'd been just 3 days ago. Desperate, frightened, out of options. And now look at them. Living in a beautiful home with stable jobs with hope for the future. All because she'd walked into a church and prayed, and a kind man had been there to hear her. I won't waste this chance, she promised quietly. I'll work hard. I'll make you proud, Raymond. And someday somehow I'll find a way to pay this forward. The next morning, Tessa dressed carefully for the doctor's appointment. She chose a simple purple dress, one of the few nice things she owned. Bella wore her yellow dress, the one she'd wanted to wear to meet Raymond at the restaurant. They arrived at Dr. Morrison's office 15 minutes early. The waiting room was painted in cheerful colors, with toys and books scattered around for children. True to Raymond's word, a golden retriever dozed in a corner, his tail thumping when Bella approached. Can I pet him? Bella asked the receptionist. Of course, honey. That's Cooper. He loves kids. Bella sat on the floor next to Cooper, stroking his soft fur and giggling when he licked her hand. Tessa watched, her heart full. When was the last time Bella had been able to play with a dog? When was the last time she giggled like that? Bella, right. A nurse called them back and they followed her to an examination room. Dr. Angela Morrison was a woman in her 40s with warm brown eyes and an easy smile. She greeted them both, then knelt down to Bella's level. So, I hear you're friends with Mr. Cole. He told me all about you. Said you love elephants and want to be a veterinarian. Bella nodded shyly. I like animals. They're nice. They're nice. And you know what? Being a veterinarian is a wonderful goal. But first, we need to make sure you're feeling your best. So I'm going to do some tests today. Nothing scary, I promise. Just listening to your lungs, checking your heart, maybe taking some blood. Is that okay? The examination took over an hour. Dr. Morrison was thorough but gentle, explaining everything she did. She listened to Bella's breathing, checked her oxygen levels, asked questions about her symptoms and her current medication. She ordered chest x-rays and blood work. Tessa sat in the corner, answering questions when needed, watching as Dr. Morrison treated her daughter with such care and respect. This was what proper medical care looked like. This was what she'd wanted for Bella all along. Afterward, Dr. Morrison sat down with Tessa while Bella played with Cooper in the waiting room. Bella's asthma is moderate to severe, but it's definitely manageable. Her current medication isn't strong enough, which is why she's still having symptoms. I'm going to prescribe something better, and I want to see her back in 2 weeks to monitor her progress. Will she be okay? Tessa asked, her voice trembling. With proper treatment? Absolutely. Kids with asthma can live completely normal lives. She'll be able to run and play, go to school, do everything other kids do. We just need to get her on the right medication and keep monitoring her. Dr. Morrison smiled. Raymond mentioned you've been struggling to afford her care. Don't worry about that anymore. Everything's covered under his company insurance. Medications, appointments, everything. Tessa covered her face with her hands, overcome with relief. Dr. Morrison handed her a tissue. It's okay. Let it out. You've been carrying this burden alone for too long. But you're not alone anymore. They left the office with prescriptions, follow-up appointments scheduled, and information packets about managing childhood asthma. In the car, Bella was unusually quiet. Tessa glanced at her in the rearview mirror. You okay, baby? Mama, Dr. Morrison said I can play like other kids now. Does that mean I can run? Really run, not just slow walking? Tessa's eyes filled with tears. Yeah, baby. Once your new medicine starts working, you'll be able to run all you want. Bella's face lit up with the biggest smile Tessa had seen in months. Can we go to the park? After we get my medicine? I want to try. They filled the prescriptions at the pharmacy, and Tessa didn't even flinch when the pharmacist said it was all covered by insurance. They drove to a nearby park, and Bella took her first dose of her new medication. Then, hand in hand, they walked to the playground. Other children ran and played, their laughter filling the air. Bella watched them wistfully. I want to try the swings, Mama. Can I? Of course you can. Tessa pushed Bella on the swings, gently at first, then higher as her daughter laughed and asked for more. They weren't running yet, but this was a start. This was hope in motion. When they got home that evening, Raymond's car was in the driveway of the main house. Tessa sent him a text. We just got back from Dr. Morrison's. She was wonderful. Thank you. He responded immediately. Can I come over? I'd love to hear how it went. 5 minutes later, he appeared at their door. Bella ran to greet him, holding out the drawing she'd made. This is for you. To say thank you. The picture showed a man and a woman and a little girl standing in front of a house. Above them, Bella had drawn a rainbow and a sun with a smiling face. At the bottom, in careful letters, she'd written, My family. Raymond looked at the drawing for a long moment, and Tessa saw his eyes glisten. This is the most beautiful thing anyone has ever given me, he said, his voice rough. Thank you, Bella. I'll treasure it always. He looked at Tessa. How did the appointment go? They sat in the living room while Tessa explained everything Dr. Morrison had said. Raymond listened intently, asking questions, genuinely interested in every detail. When she finished, he smiled. That's wonderful news. Really wonderful. Bella, you're going to be running around this property like a wild thing before you know it. Dr. Morrison said I might be able to play soccer, Bella said, her voice awed. I've always wanted to play soccer. Then soccer it is. I'll look into youth leagues tomorrow. They talked for another hour, easy conversation that flowed naturally. Raymond told them about his day at the office, and Tessa realized she was excited to start work on Wednesday. She wanted to help families the way Raymond was helping hers. She wanted to make a difference. When Raymond finally left, promising to see them Wednesday morning, Tessa tucked Bella into bed. Her daughter looked up at her with serious eyes. Mama, I think God heard your prayer. I think so too, baby. And I think Mr. Cole is part of our family now. Even if he doesn't live with us. Tessa kissed her forehead. Yeah, I think maybe he is. That night, Tessa sat on the front porch again, wrapped in a soft blanket from the linen closet. She thought about how much had changed in just 3 days. They had a home, security, medical care, and hope. But more than that, they had Raymond. A friend who cared, who listened, who showed up. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in years, she wasn't afraid to find out. Wednesday morning arrived with nervous energy. Tessa woke early, dressed in a new outfit she'd bought the day before with her first advance from Raymond. A simple navy skirt and white blouse, professional but comfortable. She braided her hair carefully and checked her reflection 3 times. Bella had her own plans for the day. Mrs. Patterson had offered to watch her, and the two had already bonded over baking lessons. When Tessa dropped Bella off at the main house, her daughter was wearing an apron and ready to make chocolate chip cookies. We'll be fine, Mrs. Patterson assured her. You go do wonderful things today. Raymond met Tessa in the driveway at 8:30. Ready for your first day? Nervous, she admitted. What if I'm not good at this? You'll be great. Trust me. He opened the passenger door of his car for her. I thought I'd drive us both today. Give us time to talk about what to expect. The TechVision Foundation offices were located in a modern building downtown, separate from the main company headquarters. As they drove, Raymond explained the foundation's mission. We help families in crisis. Medical emergencies, housing issues, job loss, domestic situations. Anything that puts a family at risk of falling through the cracks. How do people find you? Various ways. Referrals from hospitals, social workers, churches. Sometimes people just walk in. We evaluate each case and determine how we can help. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's resources, sometimes it's just connecting them with the right services. They parked in the underground garage and took the elevator to the 3rd floor. The foundation offices were bright and welcoming, with comfortable seating in the waiting area and children's toys in one corner. A young woman at the front desk looked up and smiled. Morning, Raymond. This must be Tessa. Janelle, meet Tessa Wright. Tessa, this is Janelle Cooper, my assistant and the person who keeps this whole place running. Janelle came around the desk to shake Tessa's hand. She was maybe 30, with bright eyes and a warm smile. It's so good to meet you. Raymond's told us all about you. Welcome to the team. Raymond led Tessa through the office, introducing her to the staff. There was Kevin Chin, the financial officer, a man in his 50s with a calm demeanor. Lisa Johnson handled case management, a woman in her 30s with 2 kids of her own. Marcus? No, Raymond didn't use that name. There was Timothy Brooks, who managed volunteer coordination, a young man fresh out of college with boundless enthusiasm. And Brenda Hughes, who handled community partnerships, a woman about Tessa's age with natural hair styled in beautiful locks. Brenda pulled Tessa aside after the initial introductions. Girl, I am so glad you're here. We've needed someone in this role for months. Someone who really gets what our clients are going through. I'm still not sure I'm qualified, Tessa admitted. Are you kidding? You've lived it. That's better than any degree. Brenda grinned. Come on, let me show you your office. Tessa had an office. A real office with a desk, a computer, and a window overlooking the city. Her name was already on the door. Tessa Wright, Assistant Director of Community Outreach. She stood in the doorway, overwhelmed. Raymond appeared beside her. What do you think? I think this is the nicest office I've ever seen. I think I can't believe this is mine. Believe it? You earned it. He gestured to the desk. There's a laptop for you, fully set up. Janelle will help you with passwords and access. Your first task is to review our current cases and start thinking about how we can better reach families who need help. I want your perspective, Tessa. I want your ideas. That's why you're here. The morning passed in a blur of orientation. Janelle walked her through the computer systems, the file organization, the process for handling new cases. Lisa explained how they evaluated requests and determined assistance levels. Kevin showed her the budget, explaining how Raymond personally funded most of the foundation's work. He's poured millions into this, Kevin said. And he's hands-on. He reviews every case, approves every expenditure. This isn't just a tax write-off for him. He really cares. At lunch, the team gathered in the break room. Someone had ordered sandwiches and salads. They sat around the large table and the conversation flowed easily. They asked Tessa about Bella, about her interests, about her ideas for the foundation. No one made her feel like the new person. They made her feel like she belonged. So what made you want to work here? Timothy asked. Tessa glanced at Raymond, who nodded encouragingly. She took a breath. Because I know what it's like to need help. To work yourself to the bone and still not have enough. To love your child so much it hurts and feel helpless to give them what they need. Raymond gave me and my daughter a chance when we were out of options. Now I want to help other families get that same chance. The room was quiet for a moment, then Brenda reached over and squeezed her hand. That's exactly why you're perfect for this job. After lunch, Raymond took Tessa to meet some of their current clients. First was a young couple, James and Nicole Porter, who were staying in temporary housing while waiting for their apartment to be ready. Their baby had been born premature, and the medical bills had wiped out their savings. The foundation paid for 3 months of housing and covered our baby's medical expenses, Nicole explained, her voice shaking with gratitude. We would have been homeless without them. Now James has a new job, I'm going back to work next month, and we'll be able to stand on our own again. They didn't just give us money. They gave us time to recover and rebuild. Next they visited a community center where the foundation had sponsored a job training program. Tessa met men and women learning new skills, getting certified, finding hope. One woman, Gloria Patterson. No, Raymond wouldn't use that name again. One woman, Carol Stevens, pulled Tessa aside. I was working minimum wage with no benefits. 2 kids, no child support, drowning in debt. The foundation paid for me to get my medical coding certification. Now I have a real job with real benefits. I can support my kids. I can breathe. She gripped Tessa's hand. Don't ever think this work doesn't matter. It changes lives. By the end of the day, Tessa's head was spinning with information and her heart was full of purpose. She understood now what Raymond meant about finding meaning. This work mattered. It changed lives in real, tangible ways. On the drive home, Raymond glanced at her. So, what do you think? Too much. It's perfect, Tessa said. I mean, it's overwhelming, but in a good way. I want to do this, Raymond. I want to help people the way you've helped me. You will. You already are, just by being there. He paused. Can I tell you something? When I started the foundation 5 years ago, I thought I knew what people needed. But I was wrong about a lot of things. I gave money, but I didn't always give understanding. I solved problems, but I didn't always see the whole person. You're going to make us better at this. You're going to help us actually reach people. They arrived home to find Bella and Mrs. Patterson in the guest house kitchen, surrounded by cookies. Bella ran to hug Tessa. Mama, I made 3 dozen cookies. Mrs. Patterson said I'm a natural baker. She absolutely is, Mrs. Patterson confirmed. Quick learner, follows directions, and she's got the touch. These cookies are perfect. Raymond picked up a cookie and took a bite. His eyes widened. Bella, these are incredible. You might have a future as a baker. Or a veterinarian baker, Bella said seriously. I could bake cookies for animals. Everyone laughed and the sound filled the kitchen with warmth. Mrs. Patterson gathered her things to leave, but not before giving Tessa a quick hug. I'm proud of you, dear. Eleanor Patterson would have been proud too. My George always said that helping others is the highest calling. You're doing that now. After she left, Raymond lingered. I should go, let you have your evening. But Tessa, I just want to say you did great today. Everyone loved you. And I think you're going to be amazing at this job. Thank you for believing in me, Tessa said softly. Most people wouldn't have taken a chance on someone with no experience. Most people don't know what they're missing. I knew from the moment I heard your prayer that you were special. You've got heart, Tessa. That's worth more than any resume. After dinner, while Bella did homework at the kitchen table, Tessa reviewed the files she'd brought home. She read case after case of families in crisis. Single parents working multiple jobs. Families facing medical emergencies. People who'd lost jobs through no fault of their own. Each story resonated with her because she'd lived it. She understood their fear, their exhaustion, their desperate hope. She started making notes, ideas for how the foundation could reach more people. Maybe partner with schools to identify struggling families. Maybe set up information sessions at community centers. Maybe create a hotline so people could call for help anonymously before their situations became dire. Around 9, her phone buzzed with a text from Raymond. "How's your first day settling in?" She smiled and typed back. "I'm already making plans. Lots of ideas. Thank you again for this opportunity. The opportunity is mine. Sleep well." Over the next few weeks, Tessa settled into a rhythm. She'd drop Bella at school, spend the day at the foundation office, pick Bella up in the afternoon. Bella's health improved dramatically with her new medication. She started playing at recess, running without getting winded, participating in PE class. The transformation was beautiful to watch. At work, Tessa thrived. She implemented new outreach programs, started partnerships with local organizations, and personally met with families who came to the foundation for help. She had a gift for connecting with people, for making them feel heard and understood. The other staff members quickly began deferring to her judgment on cases. "You have instincts for this," Lisa told her one afternoon. "You know exactly what people need, not just what they're asking for." Raymond noticed too. He started asking for her input on all major decisions. They'd have coffee in his office, discussing cases, brainstorming solutions. Tessa found herself looking forward to these meetings. Raymond listened to her ideas with genuine interest, never dismissive, always respectful. One Friday afternoon, about 6 weeks after she started, Raymond stopped by her office. "Got a minute?" "Of course." He sat down across from her desk, looking slightly nervous. "I wanted to talk to you about something. The foundation is hosting a gala next month. Major fundraiser, lots of donors, fancy event. I was hoping you'd help organize it. Be the face of our outreach programs. Share your story if you're comfortable." Tessa's stomach flipped. "A gala? With important people? With people who have money and want to help? Your story, Tessa, what you've overcome, what you're doing now that will inspire them to give. I know public speaking isn't easy, but I think you'd be incredible." "I don't have anything to wear to a gala." Raymond smiled. "That's what shopping is for. Brenda already volunteered to take you. She loves any excuse to go to fancy stores." Tessa thought about it. The idea terrified her, but she also knew he was right. If sharing her story could help more families, she had to do it. "Okay. Yes. I'll do it. That's my girl." Raymond stood, then paused. "Not in a weird way. I meant, you know what I mean." Tessa laughed. "I know what you meant. And thank you. For everything. Not just the job, but for believing I could do it." "Easiest decision I ever made," he said softly, then left before she could respond. That evening, Tessa told Bella about the gala. "It's going to be at a fancy hotel. Everyone will dress up. I'll have to give a speech. You'll be great, Mama. You're good at talking to people." Bella looked up from her homework. "Can I come?" "It's an adult event, baby. But Mrs. Patterson said she'd love to have you for a sleepover that night. She mentioned something about making pizza from scratch." Bella's eyes lit up. "Really? That sounds fun." Over dinner, they talked about Bella's day at school. She'd made a new friend, a girl named Sophie Martinez whose mother worked as a teacher. Sophie had invited Bella to her birthday party next weekend. "Can I go, Mama? Please?" "Of course you can go. We'll get Sophie a nice present. I already know what to get her. She loves art supplies. Maybe some new colored pencils." Tessa marveled at her daughter's thoughtfulness. Despite everything they'd been through, Bella had grown into a kind, generous child. That was worth more than all the money in the world. Later, after Bella was asleep, Tessa sat on the porch again. It had become her favorite spot, this quiet place where she could think and reflect. She thought about how much had changed in just 2 months. They had a home, security, purpose. Bella was healthy and happy. And Tessa had found work that filled her with meaning. But something else had changed too, something she was only beginning to acknowledge. She looked forward to seeing Raymond each day. She noticed the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled, the way he listened with his whole attention, the way he made her feel valued and important. Was she developing feelings for him? The thought scared her. He was her boss, her benefactor. He'd saved her and Bella when they were desperate. Any feelings she had might just be gratitude, not real attraction. Besides, what could someone like Raymond Cole possibly see in someone like her? She pushed the thoughts away. She had a good job, a beautiful home, and a healthy daughter. That was enough. That was more than enough. She didn't need to complicate things with feelings that probably weren't even real. But as she looked up at the stars, she couldn't help but remember the way Raymond had looked at Bella's drawing, the emotion in his eyes when he'd said it was the most beautiful gift anyone had ever given him. She remembered how he'd said she was making him better, helping him remember what mattered. Maybe, just maybe, they were helping each other find their way. What would you do if someone changed your entire life the way Raymond changed Tessa's? Would you be brave enough to accept help, to trust in kindness? These are the questions that define us. If this story is touching your heart, please subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Drop a comment telling me about a time someone showed you unexpected kindness. Spring bloomed into early summer, and with it came remarkable changes. Bella's transformation was nothing short of miraculous. 3 months on her new medication regimen and she was a different child. The constant wheeze that had shadowed her breathing disappeared. The fatigue that used to keep her on the couch vanished. She ran, jumped, played with an energy Tessa had never seen before. One Saturday morning, Tessa watched from the porch as Bella kicked a soccer ball around the yard with Sophie Martinez, who'd become her best friend. The two girls laughed and ran, their voices bright in the sunshine. Bella wore a bright red jersey, her hair in 2 ponytails that bounced as she moved. She was glowing with health. Rosa Martinez, Sophie's mother, sat beside Tessa on the porch steps. The two women had bonded quickly after meeting at Sophie's birthday party. Rosa taught 2nd grade at Riverside Elementary and had a warm, motherly way about her. "Look at them," Rosa said, smiling. "You'd never know Bella was sick just a few months ago." "I know. Sometimes I have to pinch myself. I keep thinking I'll wake up and this will all be a dream." "It's not a dream, honey. It's real. You and Bella deserve this happiness." Rosa sipped her iced tea. "Sophie talks about Bella constantly. Says she's the kindest girl in school. You should be proud." "I am. So proud." Raymond appeared around the side of the house, carrying a cooler. He'd been grocery shopping, something he did himself every Saturday morning despite having staff who could do it for him. He said it kept him grounded. "Ladies," he greeted them, setting the cooler down. "I brought popsicles. Thought the girls might want some." "Mr. Cole." Bella ran over, Sophie right behind her. "Can we have the red ones?" "You can have whatever flavor you want." He opened the cooler, and the girls grabbed popsicles before racing back to their game. Raymond sat on the porch railing watching them play. "She's gotten so strong. Dr. Morrison is thrilled with her progress." "I still can't believe the difference," Tessa said. "Thank you. For the millionth time, thank you." "Stop thanking me. Watching her run like that, seeing her so healthy and happy, that's all the thanks I need." Rosa looked between them, a knowing smile on her face. "Well, I should probably get Sophie home soon. We have family dinner tonight." She stood, brushing off her jeans. "Tessa, lunch this week? Just us. I know a great little cafe downtown." "I'd love that." After Rosa collected Sophie and they left, Bella flopped down on the porch, breathing hard but fine. No wheezing, no struggling. "Mama, can Sophie sleep over next Friday?" Her mom said it's okay if you say yes. "Sure, baby. That sounds fun." "Thanks, Mama." Bella jumped up and hugged her, then turned to Raymond. "Mr. Cole, can I ask you something?" "Always." "At school they're doing a thing where we bring our parents to talk about their jobs. Can you and Mama come? You could tell everyone about the foundation and helping people." Raymond looked surprised. "I'd be honored." "When is it?" 2 weeks. On Thursday. At 2 o'clock. I'll be there." After Bella went inside to shower, Raymond lingered. "She called me Mr. Cole, but lately I've been thinking, would it be okay if she just called me Raymond? Mr. Cole sounds so formal." "I think she'd like that," Tessa said. "She talks about you all the time. You're important to her. She's important to me too. Both of you are." He met her eyes and something passed between them, something warm and uncertain. "Actually, I wanted to ask you something. The gala is next weekend. I was thinking maybe we could go together? Not as boss and employee, just as friends?" Tessa's heart skipped. "Like a date? If you want it to be. Or just 2 friends attending an event together. Whatever you're comfortable with." She should say no. She should keep things professional. But looking at him, seeing the hope and nervousness in his eyes, she couldn't. "I'd like that. As friends. And maybe we'll see where it goes from there?" His face broke into a huge smile. Yeah, I'd like that too." The week leading up to the gala was a whirlwind. Brenda took Tessa shopping, and they found a beautiful blue dress that made Tessa feel like a princess. It was simple but elegant, hitting just below the knee with a fitted bodice and flowing skirt. She'd never owned anything so lovely. "Girl, Raymond is going to lose his mind when he sees you in this," Brenda said, grinning. It's not like that, Tessa protested weakly. Right. And I'm the Queen of England. Honey, I've worked with Raymond for 3 years. I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. Trust me, it's definitely like that. The night of the gala arrived. Mrs. Patterson came over to help Tessa get ready while Bella packed her overnight bag. The older woman styled Tessa's hair in an elegant updo and helped with her makeup. You look beautiful, dear, Mrs. Patterson said, stepping back to admire her work. Absolutely beautiful. Bella gasped when she saw her mother. Mama, you look like a movie star. You think so? I know so. Mr. Raymond is going to think so too. When Raymond arrived to pick her up, the look on his face confirmed Bella's words. He stood in the doorway of the guest house, speechless, staring at Tessa in her blue dress. You look. He cleared his throat. You look stunning. Just absolutely stunning. He wore a perfectly tailored black tuxedo that made him look like he'd stepped out of a magazine. Tessa felt her mouth go dry. You clean up pretty nice yourself. The gala was held at the Grand Hotel downtown, in a ballroom that took Tessa's breath away. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting sparkles of light across the room. Round tables draped in white linens filled the space, each with elaborate floral centerpieces. A string quartet played softly in the corner. This is incredible, Tessa whispered as they entered. Wait until you see the food, Raymond said, offering her his arm. The chef here is world-class. He introduced her to what felt like hundreds of people. Business leaders, philanthropists, politicians, celebrities. Everyone wanted to talk to Raymond, and he graciously included Tessa in every conversation, introducing her as the assistant director of community outreach and his friend. During dinner, Tessa sat next to a woman named Catherine Brooks, who ran a major charitable foundation. They talked about outreach strategies and the challenges of helping families in crisis. Catherine was impressed with Tessa's ideas and asked for her card. I'd love to collaborate with Tech Vision Foundation, Catherine said. Your approach seems much more personal than what we've been doing. After dinner, Raymond took the stage to give a speech about the foundation's work. He spoke eloquently about the importance of helping families, about breaking cycles of poverty, about giving people not just money but hope. Then he introduced Tessa. Her hands shook as she walked to the microphone. The room held at least 300 people, all dressed in their finest, all watching her. She gripped the podium and took a deep breath. 6 months ago, I was working 3 jobs and still couldn't pay my bills. My daughter was sick and I couldn't afford her medicine. We were about to be evicted and I had nowhere to turn. So I went to a church and I prayed. I begged God for help, for anything, for someone to care. She paused, her voice steadying as she found her rhythm. Raymond Cole heard that prayer. He didn't have to help me. He didn't know me. But he saw a mother who loved her daughter and needed help, and he chose to care. He didn't just give me money. He gave me dignity. He gave me a job where I could help other families like mine. He gave me hope. Tessa looked directly at Raymond, who stood at the side of the stage. Because of Raymond, my daughter is healthy. She runs and plays like any other kid. She has friends, goes to a good school, and dreams about her future. Because of Raymond, I have purpose. I get to help other families find their way out of crisis. I get to be part of something bigger than myself. She turned back to the audience. The money you donate tonight won't just help people pay bills. It will give them what Raymond gave me. Hope. A chance. A reason to believe that kindness still exists in this world. Thank you for being part of that. The room erupted in applause. Tessa walked off stage on shaking legs, and Raymond met her at the bottom of the steps. That was perfect, he said. Absolutely perfect. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. People kept approaching Tessa, telling her how moved they were by her story, asking how they could help. When the auction started, items went for far more than their listed values. By the end of the night, the foundation had raised over $5 million. That's double what we raised last year, Janelle whispered to Tessa. Your speech made the difference. Around 11, the crowd began to thin. Raymond led Tessa outside to a terrace overlooking the city. The night air was warm and lights sparkled below them. You were amazing tonight, Raymond said. The way you told your story, the way you connected with people. You're a natural. I just told the truth. That's what made it powerful. He turned to face her, his expression serious. Tessa, can I be honest with you about something? Her heart raced. Of course. When I heard your prayer that day in the church, I thought I was helping you. But the truth is, you saved me. I was lost, going through the motions, wondering what the point of all my success was. Then you came into my life, you and Bella, and suddenly everything made sense again. You reminded me what matters. You gave me purpose. He took her hands in his. These past months, getting to know you, watching you thrive at the foundation, seeing Bella grow healthy and happy, it's been the best time of my life. And I've realized something. I don't just care about you and Bella as my friends or employees. I care about you as family. As people I can't imagine my life without. Tessa's breath caught. Raymond, you don't have to say anything right now. I just needed you to know. You're important to me. More important than you probably realize. They stood there on the terrace, hands joined, the city spread out below them. Tessa felt like she was standing on the edge of something huge, something that could change everything. And for once she wasn't afraid. You're important to me too, she said softly. You and Mrs. Patterson, this whole life you've given us. I never imagined I could be this happy. Raymond smiled, and in that smile, Tessa saw hope and possibility. Slowly, carefully he leaned forward. Their first kiss was gentle, tentative, a question and an answer all at once. When they pulled apart, Tessa was smiling. Wow, she whispered. Yeah, Raymond agreed. Wow. They stayed on the terrace for another hour talking about everything and nothing. About Bella's progress, about the foundation's future plans, about their childhoods and dreams. The conversation flowed easily, naturally, like they'd been doing this forever. When Raymond finally drove her home, he walked her to the door. Thank you for tonight. For coming with me, for your speech, for the kiss. For everything. Thank you for asking me. Tessa hesitated, then added, would you like to come for dinner tomorrow? Nothing fancy, just me and Bella. She'd love to see you. I'd love that. After he left, Tessa floated into the house. Mrs. Patterson was sleeping on the couch, and Bella was curled up in her bed with her stuffed elephant. Tessa looked at her daughter's peaceful face and thought about how far they'd come. 6 months ago they'd been desperate and alone. Now they had a home, security, health, and hope. They had friends who cared about them. And maybe, just maybe, they were building something even more special with Raymond. She thought about his kiss, about the way he'd looked at her on the terrace. About his words calling them family. Her heart felt full to bursting. Thank you, she whispered to the quiet house, to God, to fate, to whatever force had brought Raymond into their lives. Thank you for hearing my prayer. Thank you for sending us someone who cares. Thank you for giving us this beautiful life. Outside, the night was peaceful and full of stars. And inside, wrapped in love and gratitude, Tessa fell asleep with a smile on her face and hope in her heart. The Sunday after the gala felt different, charged with new energy. Tessa woke early, nervous about Raymond coming for dinner. She'd kissed him. They'd held hands. They'd called each other family. What did that mean for their relationship now? Bella bounced around the house all morning, excited that Raymond was coming over. Can we make spaghetti, Mama? With meatballs? That's what families eat in movies. Spaghetti sounds perfect, baby. They spent the afternoon cooking together, making sauce from scratch the way Mrs. Patterson had taught them. The kitchen filled with the smell of tomatoes, garlic, and herbs. Bella carefully rolled meatballs while Tessa chopped vegetables for a salad. Raymond arrived at 6, carrying a bouquet of sunflowers and a board game. The flowers are for you, he said to Tessa. And the game is for all of us. Thought we could play after dinner? Sunflowers are my favorite, Tessa said, surprised he'd remembered. She'd mentioned it once weeks ago. I know. Dinner was comfortable and warm. They sat at the small dining table, passing dishes, laughing at Bella's stories about school. Raymond told them about his week, about a new program the foundation was launching. The conversation flowed easily, naturally, like they'd been doing this for years instead of months. After dinner, they played the board game Raymond had brought. It was a cooperative game where everyone worked together to solve puzzles. Bella loved it, her competitive spirit balanced by the teamwork required. When they finally won, she jumped up and cheered, high-fiving both adults. We make a good team, Raymond said, looking at Tessa over Bella's head. Yeah, we do. After Bella went to bed, Tessa and Raymond sat on the porch. The night was warm, fireflies blinking in the darkness. They sat close together on the porch swing, shoulders touching. I've been thinking about last night, Raymond said quietly. About what I said on the terrace. I meant every word, Tessa. You and Bella have become so important to me. You're important to us too. Tessa took a breath. But Raymond, I need to be honest. I'm scared. You're my boss, my benefactor. You've given us so much. What if I mess this up? What if my feelings aren't real, just gratitude mixed up with attraction? What if I ruin everything we've built? Those are valid fears, Raymond said. I've had them too. What if you feel obligated to return my feelings because I helped you? What if I'm taking advantage of a power imbalance? But Tessa, I've thought about this a lot. My feelings for you, they're not about being your boss or your benefactor. They're about you. Your strength, your kindness, your laugh, the way you light up when you talk about Bella. The way you care about the families we help at the foundation. That's what I've fallen for. He turned to face her. But I understand your fears. So here's what I propose. We take this slow. Really slow. We keep getting to know each other as people, not as boss and employee or benefactor and recipient. We go on dates, we spend time together, we see where this goes. And if at any point you want to stop, we stop. No pressure, no expectations, no impact on your job or your housing. I promise. Tessa felt relief wash over her. Slow sounds good. Really good. Good. Raymond smiled. So, Tessa, right, would you like to go on a real date with me? Maybe next Friday? Dinner and a movie like normal people? I'd love that. Over the next few weeks, they settled into a new rhythm. Raymond came over for dinner twice a week. They went on dates, simple ones at first. Dinner at casual restaurants. Movies at the local theater. Walks through the park with Bella. Each date felt natural, easy, right? At work, they maintained professionalism. They didn't hold hands in the office or talk about their personal relationship. But after hours, when it was just the two of them, they'd talk for hours about everything. Raymond told her about his childhood, about losing his parents, about building his company from nothing. He shared his dreams and fears, his regrets and hopes. Tessa shared her story too. Growing up with loving but struggling parents who'd passed away before Bella was born. Her pregnancy at 19, unmarried and alone when her boyfriend abandoned her. The years of working multiple jobs, of sacrifice, of loving Bella so fiercely it sometimes hurt. She'd never talked so openly with anyone before, but with Raymond it felt safe. One evening, about a month after the gala, they sat in Raymond's library in the main house. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined the walls, and a fire crackled in the fireplace despite the warm weather outside. Raymond poured them both wine and settled beside her on the leather couch. Can I ask you something personal? Tessa said. Always. You've never married, never had kids of your own. Why not? Raymond was quiet for a moment, swirling his wine. Honestly, I never found the right person. I dated over the years, but it always felt hollow. The women I met through my business circles, they liked my money, my status, what I could do for them. They didn't really see me. And I was so focused on building the company, I convinced myself I didn't need a family. He looked at her. Then I heard your prayer in that church and everything shifted. Meeting you and Bella, seeing what real love looks like, what a real family is, it made me realize what I'd been missing. You showed me that success means nothing if you don't have people to share it with. You could have anyone, Raymond. Beautiful, educated, sophisticated women. Why me? I'm a single mother with no degree, no money, no connections. You're also the strongest, kindest, most genuine person I've ever met. He set down his wine and took her hands. You fought for your daughter with everything you had. You never gave up, never stopped trying even when you had nothing left. That strength, that love, that's real. That's what I want in my life. I'm falling for you, Tessa admitted, her voice barely a whisper. Really falling. And it terrifies me. Why does it terrify you? Because I'm not used to good things lasting. I'm not used to feeling safe. And because if I lose this, if I lose you, I don't know if I could handle it. Raymond pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her. You're not going to lose me. I'm not going anywhere. I promise. They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other, the fire crackling beside them. When Tessa finally pulled back, Raymond was looking at her with such tenderness it made her heart ache. Stay, he said softly. Not forever, not tonight. But stay here in this moment with me. Let's not worry about the future or the past. Let's just be. So they stayed. They talked until midnight, then walked hand in hand back to the guest house. At her door, Raymond kissed her goodnight, a longer, deeper kiss than their first. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathless. Good night, Tessa. Sweet dreams. Good night, Raymond. The next day at work, Brenda pulled Tessa aside during lunch. Okay, Spill. You and Raymond. What's happening? Tessa blushed. We're dating. Taking it slow, but we're dating. Finally. Brenda grinned. Girl, we've all been waiting for this. You two are perfect together. The way he looks at you, the way you light up when he walks in the room. It's beautiful. You really think so? I know so. And Tessa, don't let fear hold you back. I know your situation is complicated, but that man loves you. Anyone can see it. Let yourself love him back. That weekend, Raymond invited Tessa and Bella to join him for a charity event at the local children's hospital. It was a carnival for the kids with games, face painting, and entertainment. Bella was thrilled to go. At the carnival, Tessa watched Raymond interact with the children. He got down on their level, listened to their stories, played games with them like he had all the time in the world. He won a giant stuffed bear at the ring toss and gave it to a little girl in a wheelchair. Her face lit up like Christmas morning. "He's really good with kids," Rosa said, appearing beside Tessa. She brought Sophie to the carnival too. "Yeah, he is. He'd make a good father." Tessa glanced at her friend. "Are you matchmaking?" "Maybe a little." Rosa smiled. "But seriously, Tessa, that man loves you and Bella. Don't let past hurts keep you from accepting that love." Later, as they walked through the carnival, Bella between them holding both their hands, Raymond looked at Tessa over her daughter's head and smiled. In that moment, Tessa could see it. A future. A real family. The three of them together, not just as friends or roommates but as something more. Something permanent. The thought should have scared her. Instead, it filled her with warmth. That night, after Bella was asleep, Raymond and Tessa sat on the porch again. It had become their spot where they could talk privately and be themselves. "Today was wonderful," Tessa said. "Thank you for including us." "I want to include you in everything," Raymond replied. "Tessa, I know we said we'd take this slow and we will. But I need you to know where my heart is. I'm not dating you casually. I'm not looking for something temporary. When I think about my future, you and Bella are in it. Always." Tessa's heart pounded. "Raymond, you don't have to say anything back. I just needed you to know. I'm all in with this. With us." She thought about Brenda's words, about Rosa's observations, about her own growing feelings. She thought about how safe she felt with Raymond, how he made her laugh, how he treated Bella like she was precious. She thought about the future she'd glimpsed at the carnival. "I'm all in too," she said quietly. "It scares me, but I'm all in. Because you've shown me what real love looks like. Not just romantic love, but caring about someone beyond yourself. Showing up. Being present. That's what you do every day." Raymond's smile was brilliant. He pulled her close and kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. When they broke apart, Tessa rested her head on his shoulder, and they sat together watching fireflies dance in the darkness. Inside the guest house, Bella slept peacefully, surrounded by stuffed animals and books and all the security that love provides. And out on the porch, two people who'd found each other in the most unlikely way sat together, building something beautiful from the ashes of answered prayers. The future stretched out before them, unknown but full of possibility. And for the first time in her life, Tessa wasn't afraid of what might come. Because she wasn't facing it alone. She had Raymond. She had Bella. She had a family not built by blood but by choice and love and showing up every day. And that was everything. 3 months after their first kiss, summer had settled into a comfortable warmth. Tessa's life had transformed so completely that sometimes she still had to pinch herself. She'd been promoted to Director of Community Outreach after her outstanding work developing new programs. Bella was thriving in summer camp, making friends and exploring her love of animals through the camp's nature activities. And Raymond. Her relationship with Raymond had deepened in ways that made her heart full. They'd found a rhythm that worked, balancing professional boundaries at work with growing intimacy in their personal lives. He'd become not just her partner but her best friend, the person she wanted to talk to about everything. Now the annual foundation gala approached, bigger than last year. This time Tessa wasn't just speaking. She'd helped plan the entire event, working with Janelle and Brenda to create an evening that would truly showcase the foundation's impact. The theme was Building Families, Building Hope. They'd invited families they'd helped to share their stories. They'd created video presentations showing the foundation's reach. And they'd secured major sponsors who would match donations up to $10 million. "This is going to be huge," Janelle said during their final planning meeting. "Tessa, your ideas have made this so much more personal than previous galas. People don't just want to write checks. They want to connect with real stories, real people. That's what you've given us." The week before the gala, Raymond took Tessa shopping for a dress. She protested, saying she could use the one from last year, but he insisted. "This is a special night," he said. "Please let me do this." They went to an upscale boutique, where a personal shopper helped Tessa try on dress after dress. She felt like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, except this was real, and Raymond was so much more than a business transaction. When she emerged from the dressing room in a stunning green gown, Raymond's breath caught. The dress was elegant and sophisticated, with a fitted bodice and flowing skirt that moved like water. The color made her brown skin glow. "That's the one," he said, his voice rough. "Tessa, you look absolutely beautiful." She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the confident, glowing woman staring back. A year ago she'd been wearing thrift store clothes and worrying about grocery money. Now she stood in a designer gown, preparing to host a major charity event. The transformation was staggering. "Thank you," she said, meeting Raymond's eyes in the mirror. "For all of this. For believing in me. Always." The night of the gala arrived warm and clear. Mrs. Patterson came to the guest house to help Tessa get ready and watch Bella, who was having Sophie over for a sleepover. "You look like a queen," Bella said when Tessa emerged fully dressed. "Mama, you're so pretty. You think Mr. Raymond will like it?" "He'll love it. He loves everything about you." Out of the mouths of children. Bella had picked up on their relationship, though they'd been careful not to put labels on things too quickly around her. But kids saw more than adults gave them credit for. Raymond arrived to pick up Tessa, and the look on his face was everything she could have hoped for. He wore a navy tuxedo that fit him perfectly, and he'd gotten a haircut that made him look younger. "You're stunning," he said, offering his arm. "Absolutely stunning." The gala was being held in the grand ballroom of the Metropolitan Hotel, even more elaborate than last year's venue. As they arrived, photographers snapped pictures. Tessa felt like a celebrity walking the red carpet, except this was real life and these photos would help promote the foundation's work. Inside, the ballroom had been transformed. Each table represented a different aspect of the foundation's work. Medical assistance, housing support, job training, education programs. Families they'd helped sat at the tables, ready to share their stories with donors. Tessa worked the room with Raymond, greeting guests, introducing families, explaining programs. She felt completely in her element. This was her purpose, connecting people, building bridges between those who had resources and those who needed them. At one table, she introduced Raymond to the Porter family, the young couple with the premature baby they'd met months ago. Nicole held their daughter, who was now healthy and thriving. "Look how big she's gotten," Tessa said, admiring the baby. "She's beautiful." "Thanks to the foundation," James said. "We're stable now. I got a promotion at work, Nicole's back teaching, and we just moved into our own place. We wanted to be here tonight to say thank you and to show people what their donations can do." At another table, Carol Stevens, the woman who'd gotten her medical coding certification, introduced Tessa to her two children. "My kids are doing so much better now that I have a stable job with benefits. My son is in soccer, my daughter is in art classes. We're living, not just surviving." Each story filled Tessa with pride and purpose. This was why the foundation existed. Not just to give money but to give people a chance to rebuild their lives with dignity. During dinner, Raymond stood to give his opening remarks. He talked about the foundation's growth, about the lives they'd touched, about the importance of community support. Then he did something unexpected. "This past year has been transformational for the foundation," he said. "We've helped more families than ever before, launched new programs and expanded our reach. But the real transformation has been in me personally. A year ago, I walked into a church feeling lost, questioning the purpose of my success. Then I heard someone praying, someone who needed help desperately. That person was Tessa Wright." He gestured to where Tessa sat, her heart pounding. "Tessa and her daughter Bella came into my life at exactly the right moment. They reminded me why I built this foundation. They showed me what real strength looks like. And Tessa has become not just an invaluable member of our team but someone I deeply admire and care about." The room was silent, everyone listening. Tonight, Tessa will tell you her story and share what the foundation has meant to her family. But I want you to know that she's not just someone we helped. She's someone who helps us every single day. She's the heart of this foundation now, and I'm grateful for her beyond measure. Tessa stood, her legs shaking slightly, and made her way to the stage. Raymond squeezed her hand as she passed. At the microphone, she looked out at the sea of faces and took a breath. "A year ago I was drowning. Not in water, but in bills, in fear, in the exhaustion of working 3 jobs and still not having enough to keep my daughter healthy. I went to a church to pray because I had nowhere else to turn. And Raymond heard that prayer." She told her story, but this time she added more details. She talked about the shame of not being able to provide for Bella, the terror of facing eviction, the heartbreak of choosing between medicine and food. She didn't hold back, and the room was completely silent as she spoke. "Raymond didn't just pay my bills. He gave me purpose. He gave me a job where I could help other families like mine. He gave me back my dignity and my hope. And more than that, he taught me something important. He taught me that kindness isn't weakness. That helping others isn't charity, it's humanity. That we're all just one crisis away from needing help, and we should never be ashamed to accept it." She looked directly at Raymond. This foundation saved my life. But more than that, it showed me what real love looks like. Love isn't just words or feelings. It's action. It's showing up. It's caring about someone else's struggle as much as your own. That's what Raymond does every day. That's what this foundation represents. And that's why your donations tonight matter so much. The applause was thunderous. Tessa left the stage and Raymond met her at the bottom, pulling her into a hug. That was perfect, he whispered. You're perfect. Throughout the rest of the evening, donors approached Tessa to tell her how moving her speech was. The auction raised record amounts. By the end of the night, they'd exceeded their goal, raising $12 million. This is incredible, Janelle said, looking at the final numbers. Tessa, your speech made the difference. People connected with your honesty. As the crowd thinned, Raymond led Tessa outside to the same terrace where they'd shared their first kiss a year ago. The city sparkled below them and the summer air was warm and perfect. This view never gets old, Tessa said, leaning against the railing. Neither do you. Raymond stood beside her, taking her hand. Tessa, this past year has been the best of my life. Working with you, watching Bella grow, building something real together. I don't want it to end. It doesn't have to end. That's what I'm hoping. He turned to face her, and Tessa saw nervousness in his eyes. I know we said we'd take things slow, and we have. But I also know what I feel. I know what I want. And what I want is you and Bella in my life permanently. Tessa's heart raced. Raymond, I'm not proposing tonight, he said quickly. I know it's too soon for that. But I am asking if you can see a future with me. A real future, not just as colleagues or friends, but as partners. As a family. She thought about everything they'd built together. The trust, the respect, the love that had grown slowly and steadily over the past year. She thought about how he treated Bella like she was precious, how he made Tessa feel valued and seen. She thought about the life they'd created, full of purpose and meaning and joy. Yes, she said. I can see that future. I want that future. Raymond's smile was brilliant. He cupped her face in his hands and kissed her, deep and sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Tessa was grinning. So what does this mean? She asked. Are we officially together? Like, committed and serious and telling people? If you want to be. I'm ready if you are. I'm ready. They stayed on the terrace for another hour, making plans and dreaming about the future. Raymond wanted to take her and Bella on vacation, maybe to the beach or the mountains. Tessa wanted to expand the foundation's programs, maybe open satellite offices in other cities. They talked about celebrating Bella's 9th birthday next month, about the holidays coming up, about all the ordinary, beautiful moments that make up a life. When they finally left, Raymond drove her home the long way, through the city streets, just to spend more time together. At her door, he kissed her goodnight. I'm falling in love with you, he said softly. Just so you know. Tessa's heart soared. I'm falling in love with you too. After he left, Tessa floated into the house. The girls were asleep in Bella's room, sprawled across the bed with Sophie's arm thrown over Bella's stuffed elephant. Mrs. Patterson dozed on the couch and Tessa gently woke her. How was the gala, dear? Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Mrs. Patterson smiled knowingly. I'm glad. You deserve perfect. Both of you do. After she left, Tessa changed into pajamas and stood in the doorway of Bella's room, watching her daughter sleep. She thought about how far they'd come, about the prayer in the church that had started everything, about the incredible man who'd heard that prayer and changed their lives. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for bringing Raymond into our lives. Thank you for giving us this beautiful family. Thank you for teaching me that it's okay to accept help, to trust, to love again. She climbed into bed and for the first time in her life, Tessa felt completely, totally secure. She had a home, a job she loved, a healthy daughter and a man who loved them both. She had a family not by blood but by choice. And as she drifted off to sleep, she knew with absolute certainty that this was just the beginning. The best was yet to come. The weeks following the gala should have been perfect, but Tessa found herself wrestling with unexpected anxiety. Everything in her life was good, too good, and she kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. She'd never had this much happiness, this much security, and part of her didn't trust it to last. One morning at work, she sat in her office staring at her computer screen, unable to focus. Brenda knocked on her open door. You okay? You've been quiet lately. Tessa looked up. Can I ask you something? Do you ever feel like you don't deserve the good things in your life? Brenda came in and closed the door, sitting across from Tessa's desk. Talk to me. What's going on? Everything with Raymond is amazing. He's kind, generous, he treats Bella like gold. We're talking about a real future together. But Brenda, I can't shake this feeling that I'm not enough for him. He could have anyone. Why would he choose a single mother with no degree, no money, no connections? What if he realizes he made a mistake? Girl? Brenda shook her head. First of all, stop talking about yourself like you're nothing. You're brilliant at this job. You've transformed how this foundation operates. You connect with people in ways none of us can. That's a skill, that's a gift. But that doesn't make me equal to Raymond. He's a billionaire. He's sophisticated, educated, successful. You're a survivor. You're a fighter. You're someone who loved your daughter so much you worked 3 jobs to keep her safe. That's strength, Tessa. Real strength, not the kind that comes from privilege. Brenda leaned forward. Raymond doesn't see you as less than him. He sees you as his equal because you are. Different backgrounds, yes. But equal in what matters. Heart, character, values. What if I embarrass him? What if I say the wrong thing at some business dinner or don't know which fork to use? Then you'll learn. But honestly, I don't think Raymond cares about that stuff. He's not looking for someone who fits into his world perfectly. He's looking for someone real. Someone genuine. That's you. Tessa wiped her eyes. I'm scared, Brenda. Really scared. I'm falling in love with him, and if this doesn't work out, if he changes his mind, it'll destroy me. And worse, it'll hurt Bella. She loves him too. I know you're scared. But Tessa, you can't let fear keep you from accepting love. Real love, the kind Raymond's offering, that's rare. Don't push it away because you're afraid of being hurt. That evening, Tessa talked to Rosa during their weekly coffee date. They sat at an outdoor cafe, watching people walk by in the late summer sunshine. I'm sabotaging myself, Tessa admitted. I keep looking for reasons why this won't work instead of just accepting that it is working. Rosa stirred her iced coffee thoughtfully. That's trauma talking. When you've been hurt, when you've struggled alone for so long, it's hard to trust happiness. But honey, you deserve this. You deserve Raymond, deserve security, deserve love. Stop waiting for it to be taken away and start enjoying what you have. How do I do that? By being honest with Raymond about your fears. By letting him reassure you. By choosing to trust him even when your past tells you not to trust anyone. Rosa reached across the table and squeezed her hand. Love is always a risk. But the alternative is being alone and safe but lonely. Which do you really want? That night, after Bella went to bed, Tessa called Raymond. They'd planned to see each other the next day, but she couldn't wait. Can you come over? I need to talk to you about something. He arrived 20 minutes later, concern on his face. What's wrong? They sat on the porch and Tessa took a deep breath. I need to be honest with you about something. I'm scared. Really scared. About us, about our future, about not being enough for you. Tessa? Please let me finish. You're this successful, amazing man who could have anyone. Beautiful women with degrees and connections and sophistication. And I'm a single mother who used to clean offices at night to make ends meet. Part of me keeps thinking you're going to wake up one day and realize you settled. That you could do so much better. Raymond was quiet for a moment, then he took her hands. Can I tell you what I see when I look at you? I see someone who fought for her daughter with everything she had. I see someone who never gave up, never stopped trying even when the odds were impossible. I see someone who walks into a room of strangers and makes them feel heard and valued. I see someone who's transformed our foundation's entire approach to helping people. He moved closer. Tessa, I don't want someone who fits perfectly into my world. My world was empty before you. I don't want sophistication or connections or whatever else you think I need. I want you. Your strength, your kindness, your laugh, the way you love Bella so fiercely. That's what I fell in love with. You love me? Tessa's voice was barely a whisper. I love you. I've been in love with you for months. I was just waiting for the right moment to say it. He cupped her face gently. And I need you to hear this. You're not settling for me. I'm not settling for you. We're choosing each other. That's what love is. A choice we make every day. Tears streamed down Tessa's face. I love you too. So much. That's why I'm so scared of losing you. You're not going to lose me. But Tessa, we need to work on this together. Your fear, your feelings of not being enough. I can reassure you, but you also have to choose to believe me. You have to trust that I mean what I say. I want to. I do. It's just hard. I know. But we'll work through it together. That's what partners do. He wiped her tears with his thumbs. Tell me what you need from me. How can I help you feel secure? They talked for hours, really talked. Tessa explained her fears in detail, and Raymond listened without judgment. He shared his own insecurities about being seen only for his money, about worrying that people in his life weren't genuine. They were both vulnerable and honest in ways that deepened their connection. What if we made this more official? Raymond suggested. Not engaged yet, but officially together. We tell people we don't hide our relationship, we make it clear we're committed to each other. What about work? Won't that be complicated? We'll be professional at the office like we have been. But outside of work, we're a couple. A real couple building a life together. He paused. And Tessa, I want to talk to Bella about this. Get her blessing, let her know my intentions. She's part of this relationship too. The next evening, Raymond came for dinner with a special purpose. After they ate, he asked if he could talk to Bella alone. Tessa watched nervously from the kitchen as they sat together in the living room. Bella, I want to ask you something important, Raymond said. You know your mom and I have been spending a lot of time together, right? Bella nodded. Because you like each other. Like boyfriend and girlfriend. Exactly. And I wanted to make sure you're okay with that. Your mom is the most important person in your life and I respect that. I'm not trying to replace anyone or change your family. I just want to be part of it if that's okay with you. Bella was quiet for a moment, her face serious. Then she said, Do you love my mama? I do. Very much. And do you like me? Not just because I'm her daughter, but because of me. I like you because you're smart and kind and creative. I like that you care about animals and want to be a veterinarian. I like your laugh and the way you always share your snacks with Sophie. I like you for you, Bella. Bella smiled. Then it's okay. I like you too. And Mama's been really happy since you came. She smiles all the time now, even when she thinks I'm not looking. That makes me happy too. So we're good? You're okay with me being your mom's boyfriend? We're good. But Mr. Raymond? If you ever hurt my mama, I'll be really mad at you. Raymond smiled, his eyes misting. That's fair. I promise I'll do my best never to hurt her. She's very special to me. She's special to me too. That's why we have to take care of her together. They shook hands solemnly and Tessa wiped tears from her eyes in the kitchen. When they called her back in, Bella ran to hug her. Mama, I told Mr. Raymond it's okay for him to be your boyfriend. So now it's official. Official, huh? Tessa looked at Raymond over Bella's head and he winked. Very official, he confirmed. The following weeks felt lighter, easier. With their relationship acknowledged and Bella's blessing secured, Tessa found her anxiety lessening. She started really believing that this was real and lasting. At work, Raymond's business partner, Thomas Reed, came by the foundation offices one afternoon. Thomas was in his 50s, a sharp businessman who'd been with Raymond since the early days of TechVision. He asked to speak with Raymond privately, and Tessa saw them in Raymond's office through the glass walls, their conversation looking tense. Later, Raymond came to her office, his jaw tight. Thomas expressed some concerns about our relationship. He thinks it could be problematic for the company, that it looks bad for me to be involved with an employee. Tessa's stomach dropped. What did you tell him? I told him that you're not just an employee. You're the director of community outreach and you earned that position through hard work and talent. I told him our relationship is none of his business as long as it doesn't affect our work quality, which it doesn't. And I told him that if he can't support me being happy, he can find another business partner. Raymond, you can't risk your company for me. I'm not risking anything. Thomas is a good businessman, but he's old-fashioned. He thinks everything should be kept separate, professional, cold. But that's not how I want to live my life. I want to be with you, Tessa. Publicly, proudly. And Thomas is going to have to accept that. What if he doesn't? Then he doesn't. But I'm not changing my mind. You and Bella are my priority now. The company is important, but you're more important. That evening, Tessa shared the conversation with Mrs. Patterson, who'd stopped by to drop off fresh vegetables from Frank's garden. Raymond stood up for you, Mrs. Patterson said. That's what matters. My George used to say that you know a man's true character by what he's willing to fight for. Raymond's willing to fight for you and Bella. That tells you everything you need to know. But what if I'm causing problems in his business? Honey, you're not causing problems. You're revealing what was already there. Thomas sounds like someone who values money over people. Raymond values people over money. That difference was always going to cause friction eventually. The next week, Raymond invited Tessa and Bella to a company picnic. It was a casual event for TechVision employees and their families, held at a large park with games, food, and activities. Raymond wanted to introduce them to his wider work circle. Tessa was nervous, but Bella was excited. They wore matching red sundresses that Bella had picked out, and Raymond grinned when he saw them. You two look beautiful. Ready to meet some people? The picnic was wonderful. Raymond introduced them to everyone as his girlfriend and her daughter, No hesitation, no embarrassment. People were warm and welcoming. Several employees thanked Tessa for the foundation's work, sharing stories of family members the foundation had helped. Thomas Reed was there with his wife, Claire. Thomas was polite but distant, barely speaking to Tessa. But Claire was lovely, pulling Tessa aside during lunch. "Don't mind Thomas," she said. "He's protective of Raymond, but he'll come around. I've known Raymond for 20 years, and I've never seen him as happy as he is with you. That's what matters." "Thank you. That means a lot. Raymond told me your story, how you met. It's beautiful. And what you're doing at the foundation, helping other families, that's important work. Thomas might not understand it, but I do. Keep doing what you're doing." By the end of the picnic, Tessa felt more confident. Yes, Thomas had concerns, but most people were supportive. And Raymond had made it clear where he stood. That night, as they walked through the park after everyone else left, Bella ran ahead to the playground. Raymond took Tessa's hand. "Thank you for coming today. It meant a lot to have you and Bella there. Thank you for including us. For being proud of us. Always." He stopped walking and turned to face her. "Tessa, I've been thinking. I know we said we'd take things slow, and we have. We've been together for months now, and every day I'm more certain about us. About our future." Her heart raced. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that I'm ready for the next step. Not tonight, not this second. But soon. I want to marry you, Tessa. I want to adopt Bella if she'll have me. I want us to be a real family, legally, officially, forever." Tears filled her eyes. "You want to adopt Bella? She's part of you, which makes her part of me. I love that little girl like she's my own. So when the time is right, when you're ready, I want to ask you both. You to be my wife and Bella to be my daughter. If you'll have me." "Raymond, Tessa couldn't speak past the lump in her throat. 6 months ago, she'd been praying desperately in a church, begging for help. Now she stood in a park with a man who wanted to marry her, who wanted to adopt her daughter, who loved them both completely. "You don't have to answer now," Raymond said gently. "I just wanted you to know where my heart is. Where I hope we're heading." "My heart's in the same place," Tessa managed. "With you. Always with you." They kissed as the sun set behind them, Bella's laughter floating across the playground. And in that moment, Tessa finally let go of her fear. She chose to trust. She chose to believe. She chose to accept the love that had been offered so freely and completely. Her prayer had been answered in ways she never could have imagined. And the best part? This was just the beginning. Early autumn arrived with cooler temperatures and leaves beginning to turn gold and crimson. Bella had started 4th grade, thriving academically and socially. She joined the school's art club and was learning to play soccer, running up and down the field without any breathing problems. Every time Tessa watched her daughter play, she felt overwhelming gratitude. At work, the foundation was expanding. They'd opened a satellite office in the neighboring county and were serving twice as many families as the previous year. Tessa had hired 2 new staff members to help with outreach, and she was training them personally. "You're a natural leader," Kevin told her during a staff meeting. "These new hires worship you. You make everyone feel valued." Her relationship with Raymond had deepened into something solid and real. They spent almost every evening together, either at the guest house or the main house. Mrs. Patterson had started referring to them as the family, and it felt right. Natural. One Saturday morning in late September, Raymond picked up Tessa and Bella for what he said would be a surprise day trip. He'd been mysterious all week, refusing to give details. "Where are we going?" Bella asked for the 10th time as they drove out of the city. "You'll see," Raymond said, smiling. They drove for about an hour, through countryside that grew increasingly beautiful. Rolling hills, farms, horses grazing in fields. Finally, Raymond turned down a long driveway that led to a stunning property. A large house sat on several acres with a barn, gardens, and what looked like pastures. "What is this place?" Tessa asked. "Come see." He led them on a tour of the property. The house was beautiful but not ostentatious, with large windows that let in natural light and a kitchen that opened to a family room with a fireplace. Upstairs were 5 bedrooms, including one that would be perfect for Bella. Outside, the barn had been converted into an art studio on one side and a home office on the other. The pastures were empty but clearly maintained. "Raymond, whose property is this?" Tessa asked. "It could be ours. If you want it." He took her hands. "I know the guest house has been great, but I've been thinking about the future. About us building a real life together. This place came on the market last month and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Can you picture us here? Bella having space to run and play, maybe getting that dog she's been asking for. You having room for a real garden. All of us having space to grow. Bella ran up, breathless with excitement. Mama, there's a treehouse in the back. And the barn is so cool. Can we really live here? Baby, Mr. Raymond and I need to talk about this. Actually, Raymond knelt down to Bella's level. I wanted to ask you something first, if that's okay with your mom. He pulled a small box from his pocket and Tessa's breath caught. But when he opened it, there were 2 rings inside. One was a beautiful engagement ring with a single diamond. The other was a smaller ring, clearly meant for a child. Bella, Raymond said, his voice shaking slightly. I love your mom very much and I love you very much. You two are my family and I want to make that official. So I'm asking both of you. Tessa, will you marry me? And Bella, will you let me adopt you? Will you both be my family legally and forever? Bella's eyes went huge. She looked at Tessa, who had tears streaming down her face. Mama, can I say yes? Please, can I say yes? Tessa knelt beside Raymond, pulling Bella into a hug. Yes. Yes to all of it. The marriage, the adoption, this house, all of it. Yes. Really? Bella bounced up and down. Really, really? Really, really, Tessa confirmed, laughing through her tears. Raymond slid the engagement ring on Tessa's finger, then slipped the smaller ring on Bella's finger. This is a promise ring, he told Bella. It means I promise to love you and your mom forever. To be there for you, to take care of you, to be the best father I can be. Bella threw her arms around his neck. I always wanted a dad. And you're the best one I could have imagined. Raymond hugged her tight, and over Bella's shoulder he met Tessa's eyes. The love there, the commitment, the certainty, it took her breath away. They spent the rest of the day exploring the property, making plans, dreaming about their future. Bella claimed the bedroom with the window seat, already planning how she'd decorate it. They walked the trails through the trees, sat by the pond, imagined where they'd plant a vegetable garden. When can we move in? Bella asked. Well, I need to buy it first, Raymond said, laughing. But if your mom agrees, maybe by Christmas? We could have our first Christmas here as a family. I agree, Tessa said. Absolutely, I agree. On the drive home, Bella fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from excitement and running around the property. Raymond reached over and took Tessa's hand. Are you happy? Really happy? I'm more than happy. I don't even have words for what I am. She looked at the ring on her finger, simple but beautiful. Raymond, you didn't have to buy a whole house. I wanted to. I want to give you and Bella everything you deserve. A real home, stability, space to grow. And honestly, I wanted to. I want to wake up with you every morning, have breakfast with Bella, come home to you both every night. The guest house was great for starting out, but this, a place that's ours together, that's what I want. What about your house? The main house. I'll keep it for now, maybe use it for the foundation's events or guest housing. But this new place, this is where I want to build our life. That evening they told Mrs. Patterson the news. She cried happy tears and hugged them all. George would have been so thrilled. He always said Raymond needed a family. Now he has one. Over the next few days they told the rest of their circle. Brenda screamed with excitement and immediately started planning an engagement party. Rosa cried and said she'd known from the beginning they were meant to be together. Janelle organized a celebration at the foundation office with cake and champagne. Even Thomas Reed, Raymond's business partner, seemed to soften. He pulled Raymond aside at the office celebration. I owe you an apology. And I owe Tessa one too. I was wrong to question your relationship. Seeing you this happy, seeing how good she is for you and for the company, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Thank you, Thomas. That means a lot. For what it's worth, I think you're making the right choice. She's special. Hold on to that. The weeks flew by in a flurry of planning. They set a wedding date for December, a small ceremony in the same church where they'd first met. They started the adoption process for Bella, which would be finalized after the wedding. They closed on the new house in October and began the process of making it their home. Bella threw herself into decorating her new room, choosing purple walls and filling the bookshelves with her growing collection of animal books. Tessa and Raymond spent weekends furniture shopping, picking out pieces together, building their home bit by bit. One Saturday afternoon, as they assembled a bookshelf in the living room, Tessa sat back and looked around. Sunlight streamed through the windows. Bella's laughter echoed from upstairs where she was playing with Sophie, who'd come over for the afternoon. Raymond was focused on the instructions, his tongue between his teeth in concentration. This was her life now. This beautiful, peaceful, love-filled life. And she'd stopped waiting for it to disappear. She'd chosen to believe it was real, that she deserved it, that it would last. What are you thinking about? Raymond asked, noticing her staring. How grateful I am. How lucky we are. Not lucky. Blessed. He put down the screwdriver and pulled her close. We found each other when we both needed it most. That's not luck. That's grace. In November, they held an engagement party at the new house, even though they weren't fully moved in yet. They invited everyone who'd been part of their journey. The foundation staff, Mrs. Patterson, Frank and Rosa Martinez, families the foundation had helped, Raymond's business associates, Bella's friends and their parents. The house filled with people, laughter, love. Bella gave a toast, standing on a chair in the kitchen. I want to thank Mr. Raymond for being the best almost dad ever. And I want to thank Mama for praying that day. Because her prayer brought us all together. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Later that evening, after everyone left and Bella was asleep on the couch, Tessa and Raymond sat on the porch of their new home. The night was cold and they wrapped a blanket around themselves. In 2 months you'll be my wife, Raymond said. Tessa Cole. How does that sound? Perfect. It sounds perfect. And Bella will officially be my daughter. Bella Cole. She's so excited about that. She's already practicing writing her new name. Raymond was quiet for a moment. You know what the best part is? Not the wedding or the house or any of the external things. It's knowing that I get to spend the rest of my life with you. That I get to watch Bella grow up. That I get to be part of your family. You're not part of our family. You are our family. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching stars appear in the darkening sky. Tessa thought about her prayer in the church, about how desperate and alone she'd felt that day. She thought about Raymond sitting in the back pew, hearing her words, choosing to help. Do you ever think about that day in the church? She asked. About what made you stay and listen instead of leaving? All the time. I think something bigger than us was at work that day. Call it God, call it fate, call it the universe. But I was meant to hear your prayer. We were meant to find each other. I believe that too. Because nothing else makes sense. The timing, the circumstances, the way everything fell into place. It was meant to be. It was meant to be, Raymond agreed, pulling her closer. And I'll be grateful for it every day for the rest of my life. As November turned into December, the wedding preparations intensified. Tessa chose a simple white dress, elegant but not ostentatious. Bella would be her flower girl, wearing a red dress she'd picked out herself. The ceremony would be small, just close friends and family in the church where their story began. The week before the wedding, Dr. Morrison did a final checkup on Bella before signing off on some forms for the adoption. She's completely healthy, the doctor reported. No signs of asthma complications, lung function is perfect. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. She's happy, Tessa said simply. She has stability, love, security. Turns out that's good medicine. The best medicine, Dr. Morrison agreed. The night before the wedding, Tessa couldn't sleep. She walked through the new house, now fully furnished and decorated, touching furniture, looking at pictures they'd already hung on the walls. This was real. This was happening. Tomorrow she'd marry Raymond and they'd officially become a family. She found Bella awake too, sitting in her window seat and looking out at the moonlit yard. Can't sleep either? Tessa asked, sitting beside her. I'm too excited. Mama, tomorrow Mr. Raymond becomes my real dad. He does. Are you happy about that? So happy. I used to pray for a dad, when I was little. I'd ask God to send me a dad who would love us and stay with us. And he did. He sent Mr. Raymond. Tessa hugged her daughter close. You're right. He did. Do you think I should call him Dad now? Instead of Mr. Raymond? I think he'd love that. But you should ask him. Make sure he's comfortable with it. I will. Tomorrow, after we're all officially family. They sat together in the window seat, watching the moon, mother and daughter, grateful and loved and safe. And across the property in the main house, Raymond sat awake too, thinking about the family he was gaining, the life he was beginning, the answered prayer that had changed everything. Tomorrow couldn't come fast enough. December arrived with the first real cold snap of winter, but the chill only made the upcoming wedding feel more magical. Snow dusted the ground on the morning of the ceremony, turning everything white and pristine. Tessa woke in the guest house one last time. Tomorrow she'd wake up as Mrs. Raymond Cole in their new house. Today was the bridge between her old life and her new one, and she wanted to savor every moment. Mrs. Patterson arrived early to help her get ready, bringing fresh flowers for her hair and the pearl necklace she'd worn at her own wedding. Something borrowed, she said, fastening it around Tessa's neck. George gave me this 50 years ago. It's seen a lifetime of love, and now it'll be part of your special day. Rosa came with Sophie, both dressed in beautiful dresses ready for the ceremony. Let me do your makeup, Rosa insisted. I used to work at a makeup counter in college. Trust me. Bella wore her red dress and could barely contain her excitement. She twirled in front of the mirror, her flower girl basket already filled with rose petals. Mama, you look like a princess. Tessa looked at herself in the full-length mirror. The simple white dress fit perfectly, elegant and timeless. Her hair was styled in soft curls with small white flowers woven through. The pearl necklace added the perfect touch. She looked happy, radiant, loved. I can't believe this is happening, she whispered. Believe it, honey, Mrs. Patterson said. You deserve every bit of this happiness. At the church, Raymond waited nervously with Thomas Reed, who'd agreed to be his best man despite their earlier friction. The small sanctuary was decorated with white flowers and candles, intimate and beautiful. You ready for this? Thomas asked. I've never been more ready for anything in my life. The ceremony began at 2 o'clock. Sophie walked down the aisle first as a junior bridesmaid, followed by Bella scattering rose petals with careful concentration. Then Brenda, Tessa's maid of honor, in a beautiful blue dress. Finally, Tessa appeared at the back of the church. She'd chosen to walk herself down the aisle, a symbol of how far she'd come on her own before finding Raymond. But as she walked, she saw all the faces of people who'd supported them. Mrs. Patterson dabbing her eyes. Kevin and Lisa from the foundation beaming. The Porter family with their healthy baby. Carol Stevens with her children. Rosa and Frank Martinez. Dr. Morrison. Janelle and the rest of the foundation staff. And at the front, Raymond, watching her with such love in his eyes that she almost forgot to breathe. The pastor who'd agreed to marry them smiled warmly. Dearly beloved, we gather here today to witness the union of Raymond and Tessa, and to celebrate the formation of their family. This is a special ceremony, as we're not just joining two people in marriage but officially welcoming Bella into this family bond. The ceremony was simple but meaningful. Raymond and Tessa exchanged vows they'd written themselves. Tessa, Raymond said, his voice strong despite his emotion. A year and a half ago I walked into this church feeling lost. Then I heard you pray and everything changed. You showed me what real strength looks like. You taught me that success means nothing without people to share it with. You and Bella gave my life meaning and purpose. Today I promise to love you unconditionally, to support you in all things, to be your partner, your friend, and your husband. I promise to love Bella as my own daughter, to guide her and protect her and help her become the amazing woman I know she'll be. I promise to build a life with you both based on love, respect, and kindness. This I vow for all my days. Tessa's hands shook as she read her vows. Raymond, when I prayed in this church I asked God for help. I never imagined He'd send someone like you. You didn't just help me financially. You saw me as a person, valued my ideas, believed in my potential. You treated Bella like she was precious from the very first day. You gave us not just security but dignity and hope. Today I promise to love you with all my heart, to support your dreams, to be your partner in all things. I promise to keep showing you what family means, to fill your life with the same love you've given us. I promise to choose you every day for the rest of our lives. This I vow forever. They exchanged rings, simple bands that matched perfectly. Then the pastor called Bella forward. Bella, please join your parents. Bella walked up and Raymond knelt to her level. Bella, today I'm marrying your mom, but I'm also making a promise to you. I promise to be the best father I can be. To support you, guide you, protect you, and love you unconditionally. You're my daughter now in my heart and soon legally. Will you accept me as your dad? Bella nodded, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I will. And can I call you Dad now? I'd be honored. Then I promise to be a good daughter. To listen and learn and make you proud. I promise to love you and Mama forever. She threw her arms around his neck. I love you, Dad. There wasn't a dry eye in the church. Even Thomas was wiping his face with his handkerchief. The pastor smiled through his own tears. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife, and I declare you officially a family. Raymond, you may kiss your bride. Raymond stood, pulled Tessa close and kissed her as everyone cheered. Then he scooped up Bella and they stood together, the three of them, a family at last. The reception was held at their new house, which had been decorated beautifully by Janelle and the foundation staff. Tables filled the living room and spilled into the family room. A caterer had provided a feast. A small band played music. It was perfect. During dinner, people gave toasts. Thomas stood and surprised everyone by saying, I'll admit, I had doubts about this relationship. But watching Raymond with Tessa and Bella, seeing how they've changed his life, I was wrong. This is what love looks like. Congratulations to all three of you. Brenda gave a toast that made everyone laugh and cry. I've known Tessa for over a year now, and I've watched her transform from someone beaten down by life into someone who stands tall and confident. That's partly because of Raymond's support, but mostly because Tessa chose to believe she deserved good things. She chose to trust, to love, to take a chance. And now she's gotten everything she deserves and more. To Tessa and Raymond and Bella, may your love continue to grow stronger every day. Mrs. Patterson gave the final toast. My late husband George believed that the purpose of life is to help others. Raymond learned that lesson well. But what Raymond didn't know until he met Tessa is that helping others helps us too. Tessa and Bella saved Raymond as much as he saved them. They reminded him what matters. Family, love, connection. These three people were meant to find each other. I'm so grateful I've gotten to witness their journey. To the Cole family. To the Cole family, everyone echoed. After dinner, Raymond and Tessa had their first dance to a sweet, simple song about love and family. Then Raymond danced with Bella, holding her feet on his as they swayed to the music. Tessa watched them, her heart so full she thought it might burst. Later, as the party wound down and guests began to leave, Tessa stood on the porch of their new home, watching snow fall softly in the December darkness. Raymond came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. Hello, Mrs. Cole. Hello, Mr. Cole. How does it feel? Like coming home. Like everything finally makes sense. She turned in his arms. Thank you. For hearing my prayer, for caring, for loving us. Thank you for letting me. For trusting me with your heart and your daughter. For building this family with me. Bella appeared in the doorway, still in her red dress, holding her stuffed elephant. Can we have hot chocolate? As a family? Absolutely, Raymond said, scooping her up. Let's go make hot chocolate. They went inside, and Tessa took one last look at the snowy night before following. Through the window, she could see Raymond and Bella in the kitchen, laughing as they searched for mugs. This was her life now. This beautiful, love-filled, secure life. 6 months later, the adoption was finalized. Bella became Bella Cole officially, and they celebrated with a party even bigger than the wedding. She proudly showed everyone her new birth certificate with Raymond listed as her father. The foundation continued to grow under Tessa's leadership. They helped hundreds of families that year, and Tessa trained volunteers to replicate their model in other cities. She gave speeches at conferences, sharing her story and inspiring others to approach charity with dignity and respect. Raymond scaled back his hours at TechVision to spend more time with his family. They had dinner together every night, took family vacations, made memories. He taught Bella how to ride a bike and helped her with her science fair project. He coached her soccer team and sat through countless school concerts and art shows. They got the dog Bella had wanted, a golden retriever puppy they named Chance. They started a vegetable garden that became Bella's special project. They hosted monthly dinners for foundation families, turning their home into a gathering place for people building new lives. One evening, almost 2 years after that prayer in the church, Tessa and Raymond sat on their porch watching Bella play with Chance in the yard. The dog barked happily as Bella threw a ball, both of them running through the grass in the golden late summer light. Do you ever think about how different life could have been? Tessa asked. If you hadn't been in that church that day? If you'd left before hearing my prayer? Sometimes. But honestly, I think we would have found each other somehow. Maybe not that day, but eventually. Some connections are meant to happen. I believe that too. Tessa leaned against him, content. You know what the best part is? We're not just living a happy ending. We're living a happy beginning. Every day is a new start, a new chance to love each other and Bella and build this life together. A happy beginning, Raymond repeated. I like that. Bella ran up to the porch, breathless and glowing. Dad, can we have a barbecue tomorrow? And invite Sophie's family and Mrs. Patterson? Sure, sweetheart. That sounds perfect. She ran off again, Chance barking at her heels, and Tessa smiled. This was her family. Her home. Her life. Built from a desperate prayer and a stranger's kindness, grown into something more beautiful than she'd ever imagined possible. I love you, she said to Raymond. I love you too. Always. As the sun set over their property, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, the Cole family remained on the porch. 3 people who'd found each other when they needed it most, who'd built a family based on love and trust and showing up every day. Tessa thought about her prayer that day in the church, about how she'd begged for help in any form. She'd gotten so much more than help. She'd gotten a partner, a home, security, purpose, and love beyond measure. And as Bella's laughter rang out across the yard, as Raymond's hand found hers, as their dog barked happily in the evening light, Tessa knew with absolute certainty that prayers are always answered. Sometimes they're answered with exactly what we ask for. Sometimes they're answered with something even better. Hers had been answered with everything she'd never dared to dream of. And every single day she was grateful.